And
3,
that's kind of
2,
what our music is
1. A lot of wizardry in the media today. A lot of things going on. There's a lot of
magical spells.
Magical spells. Magical little hypnotizing going on. We're going to talk about some Juicy Smollett.
The French actor.
The French actor.
That French actor.
Yeah, we got some things to talk about. So stay tuned. Keep watching. It's Young Lion TV. Thank you guys for watching. It's Tuesday night. Well, you're watching Young Lion TV. We're live again at True Sound Studio. He does not watch.
At least she's loyal.
She does not watch if he is not on.
Right.
Well, I think it's because usually when you're not here, it's because she's working, right?
Yeah, usually.
So that's so she doesn't have the ability to.
And I think she wants to make sure that I'm here.
Yeah,
You know?
She's like,
Not anywhere else.
She said podcast. He wasn't sitting at that. Like it, thumbs up, all that stuff. Put it in your feeds. Let people know that we're having this conversation. Let people know they can tune in and watch us live. If they want to get up on the knowledge that we have to offer as 4 grown men who kind of see things a little differently than most people that we talk to.
Yeah, share it though.
Share it. Definitely share it. /Young Lion TV, and you can sign up. Or you can just donate if you want to. Also, you can go to Jatan.com and you can get merch. We just got the new, if you can show Jake there, Rach, we just got the new 20th anniversary t-shirts right there that we got pressed up, and they are available now. And, you know, we got the Jatan shirts too. And we got we got some new stuff that we're going to be making too, some mugs and everything like that. But other than that, well, let's get into it. First, I got to introduce, you know, the half black, half Indian with the Spanish last name. To my left, Mr. James Garcia.
It never gets old.
In
this corner, he's half black, half Indian.
Half Asian?
Half black, half Asian.
Well, Indian is Asian technically.
It is. Yeah, it's in Asia.
Why do people not at all?
Right.
And they don't think of India. Like,
they don't think it's Uzbekistan.
Right.
Maybe we need to like reconfigure our continental situation.
I never thought of that. I am half Asian.
And I think Asians, well, who did Asian people decide to be called Asian American?
I think Oriental was offensive.
Oriental's offensive.
Right.
But you can't say like, why,
you call me Oriental, I don't care.
I did see something about it once, but I don't remember because I didn't care enough to pay attention. But it was something about Oriental referred to things.
Yeah.
Objects.
That's true.
Yeah.
Things from the Orient.
Right.
Yeah.
But it only material things, like things that they make, rugs, things like that. People you can't consider Oriental.
They're Asian.
But are they Asian though?
Yeah.
Because
but everybody does that because
you don't call an Indian person an Asian American though.
No.
You don't.
No.
But they do have ASTV.
Mm-hmm. What's that?
The Asian TV.
Dude, you think I have ever tuned into that?
Okay.
I don't even
what
know.
What
That
on a
was
Sunday?
That's not included.
Well,
in my
I know
pack.
that because I didn't have cable, and it used to be one of the channels.
Oh, really? It's free too?
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Wow.
Yeah.
But is
They
that
play
that's
the Bollywood?
They play Bollywood and
like
stuff. They are serious. It's even worse there though.
Yeah. Right.
It's
So everybody does it. It's not
because
just
they were at war with each other.
Right.
Yeah, when we were in London, like I'm from Liverpool.
Yeah. Then it breaks down even inside England. It breaks down to like, oh, I'm from know.
But we do that here, like
Camden.
That's true.
Yo, you from
I'm
Camden?
not from
Yo?
Camden.
Yeah.
I'm home. Like we do the same thing.
Yeah,
we
it's
do
true.
that. People are just
Why do we separate?
People are tribal.
Yeah,
man.
very
what it is.
tribal.
People in Philly are always like, "Why are you an Eagles fan if you're not from Philly?"
Yeah.
Because that's the only NFL team around this area.
Yeah, we know.
It's the home team. It's the home team.
Come on, man.
And then if you
That's what people say.
then you break it down even more, and people will be like, "Well, what block are you from?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yo, what's your address, man? What address are you from? North Philly?
Yo,
You odds or evens.
yo,
Yo, that would be a great skit.
it would be.
It goes to like
you
this.
keep breaking it down.
That's the
What's
key
your
of
DNA
the
though?
skit,
bro.
What's your O positive, A positive? What's up?
Right, and you just keep
You
getting smaller and smaller gangs.
They gotta go to the doctor's office to get their blood work. See, man, I'm telling you, I'm real.
Then inside the household, they got gangs. Like, are you top floor or bottom floor? I mean, where you at?
Stupid. Just stupid.
Skits, man.
One day we'll get there. We'll do some skits. But yeah. Oh, Jordan's watching. What's up, Jordan?
Jordan Damiani.
You're supposed to be bringing us our equipment right now.
Yeah, what's up, brah?
And where are you at?
He's gonna go right off.
And good night.
And he wouldn't have remembered if I wasn't there today.
That's right. Moan popped in on you like, yo, where my stuff, yo? Where my money?
Where my money, man?
No, you popped in to get one of them.
Before you guys go on, I didn't get a chance to tell you guys that you guys did because I haven't been on for a while, but you guys killed it at the winery.
Oh, thank you, man.
On your 20-year anniversary.
Thank you, man. We appreciate that.
Everybody came out. My cousin and his wife. This is the first one. This is my first time my cousin's wife saw you guys, and she was blown away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she had a great time.
She had a great time. Got a little drunk. Husband got embarrassed. You know?
It was fun for me to see her like cut loose.
Oh, she's
like
a good drunk.
I've never seen her cut loose like that.
Yeah,
so
she deserves it.
Cool. Yeah,
but she was so happy. You guys did a fantastic job, man.
Thank you, man.
Such a great performance, you know.
I hope she remembers it.
No, she
right. Next time I see her, I'm like, baby, so what'd you think of the shows?
There was a show.
Jodeci, right? Yeah. No, Jatan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good to see her.
Yeah, it was good, man. It was a great.
I can't believe they took that long ass drive though. That's what's up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right down 295. It's not that far.
No, it's not that far.
Ariana said we definitely did awesome show. Thank you, Ariana.
It was great, man.
Thank you.
Jordan said, "Yo, bros." What's
Yo,
up, Jordan?
bro.
Great performances, you know.
Yeah, man. It was good to see everybody who came out. We talked about it last week.
Did you show up on time? I didn't.
I did come on time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did.
He did come on time.
Yeah, because y'all tables to the left. Because if you were late, we would have called you out.
I know you would. That's why I was trying to hit the pedal to the metal.
And he almost got that Jen's accident.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, we were stuck in that.
Slowed up a lot of people.
Yeah. Good thing she's okay.
Mm-hmm.
We saw the pictures from that.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, she sent us pictures of her car. It's crazy.
Yeah, we didn't.
Shaniqua has a video. I gotta send that.
Yeah,
I gotta get her to send that to you of them working on the car to get her out of it.
Oh wow.
Jeez. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on. So the Eagles lost.
Yeah, they did.
That was a rough loss for us. Man.
It was.
Sorry for your loss.
Single teardrop.
Yeah.
It wasn't. They fall for it. It was
close.
Yeah, it was close.
It was one of those losses that you still felt good about because it's like the season's early. Wentz stepped up and had a good game.
Yeah,
it's a lot of injuries.
Yeah, they were injured in the first quarter.
Yeah.
They didn't have any of their weapons, and they still were in the game.
And they were right there.
Yeah, could have had it.
Really right there, dude.
Yeah.
Dudes know how to catch. Dudes know how to,
it
fall
ended
on
up,
fumbles.
30, 34 or something like that?
20, 24.
20. Oh, wow. It was.
Yeah, Jordan, we did talk about how you almost crashed. That was we talked about that on the podcast right after the show, right?
Yeah.
Didn't we bring that up on here?
We did.
We told that whole story about how, did I tell you that?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
He did his opening.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Jordan and his wife. They just did their grand opening.
The 70s into the 80s.
All right, guys, we're back. We had a little issue with the stream, and we're back up live now. So hopefully we can get everybody back in here to get back on the stream.
Come back to us, baby. Come back.
But yeah, so I don't remember what we were talking about. We were talking about some Naked and Afraid and all that stuff. But let's
a whole bunch of stuff.
Let's get into some of the stuff that we wanted to talk about today.
Oh yeah.
So let's start with, did everyone see the Revolt Summit thing?
I did.
You watched it?
Revolt Summit.
Yes.
No, I did not.
So Revolt did like this kind of like, what was it? Was it to like get young black people to vote?
Yeah, it was sort of like a little I guess I would say like a young summit.
Yeah.
For like opinions, like different points of view, like conservative, liberal, kind of like that. And a bunch of rappers. They had Candace Owens on there, Killer Mike, The other people aren't that famous. T.I. was there.
Yeah, T.I. was there. Why was T.I. there?
Because he's kind of like,
He's been a voice for
sort of
more of a he's trying to be more political now.
Yeah.
Getting involved with political
He's getting
things.
involved with his community somewhat.
I don't like I appreciate the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think the platform, I watched the whole thing.
Right.
And I got to say, I'm glad that it is shifting. The conversation that's happening is shifting from, yo, man, go vote, man. People died for your.
Yeah.
I think we need to stop that nonsense.
Well, that was one of the things that impressed me is that they talked about that right off the bat.
Exactly.
That was the first thing they addressed was the fact that like just saying that someone died for you to have the right to vote
It's not good
isn't
enough. It's not good enough.
Yeah.
We need to talk about what that does that mean and what are we going to get out of. That's the name of politics, you know?
And we need to start when they're young. We need to start showing kids the importance of getting involved with the political system and getting involved with how the government works.
Yeah.
And not just
That's why I stepped away.
Go vote.
I stopped voting for a while because I was just fed up with the system. I didn't understand it, and I really had to really do research to find out why is it that we do the things we do.
Right.
And a lot of people are just vote just because, and I'm like, that's ridiculous. If I don't understand this thing, give me some time to figure it out.
Right.
You know. And I like that. Number one, Revolt is P. Diddy's network, right? So he did this, but I like the fact, and I got to give him credit here, that he didn't insert himself.
Yeah.
That he sat on the sideline because these are the type of conversations we need to have.
Right.
Especially from the inner city type perspective.
I think he did a great job of picking the panelists.
He did.
Like the fact that he had Candace Owens, he had the other lady that worked for the Trump campaign.
Right.
And then he had...
I think the moderator could have been a little better.
The moderator was...
But the crowd was a problem too.
Who was the moderator? Anybody?
I don't know him. Like
he's not a famous
top, like,
person.
just looking at him, but he definitely had his own point of view, and he was steering the debate to that point of view a lot of the times.
That's true.
So he wasn't like a neutral moderator.
Right.
He was definitely interjecting.
Right. And please, guys, go watch it.
The question, make sure you go watch it. We're going to show a clip of it at a certain point.
Because it is important.
Yeah. And one of the things that it exposed also was the fact that, like, especially for the younger black people, is that we get so hyped up about things, and we get so like we were saying before. We want to talk about the media and the way the media has a tendency to like get us aroused, get a rise out of us over certain topics and certain issues, especially the black community. So they'll throw certain trigger things at you to get you hyped up. Yeah. So now when you bring them in front of a panel like this, and the information comes to them, which is true information, but it's coming from someone that they already view as the enemy, like a Candace Owens, because Kanye West brought up Candace Owens, or you always hearing about Candace Owens as a Trump supporter, so automatically she's the enemy. So if she brings up the fact that Lyndon Johnson talked about welfare and having niggas voting for him for 200 years, and the fact that like it changed the entire structure of the black family in America,
his welfare programs,
the welfare
social programs.
She was bringing all that up, and
but
people they were booing and like yelling.
They wouldn't let her speak.
They wouldn't let her speak.
But Killer Mike quelled that though, so we got to give him credit too, because he stopped it.
That's the point I'm getting to. So then when he because he's someone that they respect, right? So now that he comes in and says that what she's saying is true, and he backs her up, it becomes like, okay, now we can listen
to you. And he quantified it by saying, look, everything she's saying, Farrakhan says, so you can't go praising him and clapping for him, and not clapping for her. And I think part of the problem is we're learning that our community is basically reactionary. We're reacting to certain things, and we're not about the action. Right.
It's all about trigger, and that's another thing that Killer Mike brought up is like, when you come into a situation like that, saying I'm gonna get the viral moment, I'm gonna say the snazziest thing, exactly, and get everyone, that you're not getting
T.I.'s role,
right, because T.I. was the one that was just like pretty much, coming from the perspective of I'm going to get the crowd to clap for me by saying things that I know everyone wants me to say, which is like you supporting someone who's a white supremacist and never condemn white supremacy, and everyone cheers, and she's trying to explain how that's wrong and false and a false narrative.
She
can't get a word. No one's listening, and he's like, and all he says is, "Man, you just saying some bullshit." Everyone starts cheering. Oh,
that's what they want to react. We got to stop that. I was saying this to my friend. I said, look, man, just because you don't agree with her, we got to stop this thing where we think you're you're a monolith because you're black, or you should think like me.
Right.
We should have. The one thing I don't like about the panel, and I think that we need to stop this in a sense. I love what they did, but I think next time they need to include engineers, lawyers, entrepreneurs, not just celebrities and rappers, because that's the problem. We are getting all our information from entertainers,
right?
And yeah, I understand that they have perspective from that world, but we need
Why
another.
not have the dude on there that started BET?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's what we need. We need and bringing these different people, like Killer Mike says. Why don't we take the best of your ideas, the best of your ideas, the best of his ideas, and put it together?
Right.
Why don't we do that? Because when we have these quote unquote celebrity types just reacting to us, they're sending the audience into like a frenzy. Like people are screaming out at her.
Right.
And it's like no one's there to listen to you.
Right.
You're just screaming out. You're looking for these moments for people to clap.
And that's what it started getting off the rails. And then because it became just T.I. or like just like the
T.I. and the other girl, I can't remember her name.
T.I. and the other girl, she's a very she's always on like the MSNBC panels and talking about like black progressiveness and all that stuff. So it was her and T.I. basically like
she's
just
always talking about Trump as a fascist.
Just talking about that stuff, trying to fight Candace Owens and what she was saying, but no one was listening to each other. No one was getting anywhere. So that's when Killer Mike like jumped in with this viral moment that I want to have Rachel play.
But that's my point with the moderator. Like, that's your job as a moderator.
Right.
You just got to let people talk.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
You're supposed to not have people cutting each other off. You're supposed to make sure that points are being made.
Right.
And and calming down the audience. Like he
trolling.
Right.
So I don't know if you could find that. It should be on the list of things there. It says like something about Killer Mike gives a speech.
Right.
Because what he does is he basically quiets down everybody and explains what they're witnessing. And
and facts are facts.
Yeah.
You may not want to hear it, but it is what it is.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So.
Yeah. It's funny while she's trying to pull that up because I see our internet isn't too great right now. But it's funny that he can say that, like, and he said that we're fans of Farrakhan, you know, and Farrakhan can say the same thing and people listen. So you can have unless they're put in the right perspective.
Yeah.
And I want to add something to it. I do like Candace Owens. I like what she says. But I feel like Candace Owens shortchanges herself because she stops at the how these problems happen to the or what's going on in the black community. But she doesn't expound on it to say what created that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
she does to a certain extent, but she cuts it off at it's Democrats.
Right, it's Democrats. But it's you have to name white supremacy and you have to name corporatized. You have to name certain things to say, look, this is what's going on. But you know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like she cuts herself short where she doesn't really, she calls it out to a point, but not all the way.
Because I think Candace Owens has now identified herself as a black conservative. And when you do that, you have to like fit into a certain, really wasn't, you know,
she wasn't
knowledgeable about it.
No, she just knew I was against it.
Climate change is a hoax. And he was like, but why do you say that? You know, like you feel like you just
then your point is invalid. You know, that's how I feel.
I think people need to stop looking. It's like, if I can funnel you this way or that way, now I know what I'm dealing with.
And we as a community, we have to realize that I'm like, listen, calm down, relax.
Yeah.
Hear what she has to say. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's some truth there.
What does he say about why he doesn't like her?
Why doesn't he like her?
Well, just because, you know, he was raised his liberals. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like a bedwench black Trump supporter.
Right.
Yeah.
She calls it a plantation.
Okay. Yeah, right.
So let's be clear.
She talks like
she that's what she's doing. So I as a fan, I like her, but I don't agree with everything she says because she doesn't go in depth. Just like
they're turning it into something that you need to be in fear of.
Right, but we got to talk about cause and effect, and that's what I fear that's happening.
Right.
How this thing started.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how did this begin? You know what I mean? Hotels, had businesses. There was black law.
Went to the...
And you start cussing and acting a fool, and you're not listening that there was a time.
Right.
There was a time when, because of segregation, it forced black people to start businesses, to basically become entrepreneurs and operate. That's the truth. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's what I like about it. But I do think that the conversation was important, and I'm liking that it meant nothing.
Like it was just here they go again trying to tell us to vote.
But we were reacting to a system that we didn't know.
Right.
I think, when we were kids, I mean, even before we were able to vote, it wasn't that we didn't have anything to show us. Anything about like. I think there's a better job being done now.
Right. I like that it's happening. I think it's great. I said to Dylan, I think these kind of conversations are very important.
Yeah.
We need to see.
But why is it being done now? Because people are scared. Like, I think people were in such a comfortable position, like when we were growing up, that it wasn't really like, no, we need to go out and vote. It was just like,
well, we didn't have access to information. Like, for instance, a lot of people don't know that Joe Biden and the Clintons wrote the crime bill.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all of that, all what you're complaining about, about black men being in prison, initiated by the Democrats and Joe Biden. Yeah. Good old Uncle Joe wrote that bill, wrote the 3 strikes rule, all of that. You know, he's responsible for that.
They talked about, the fact that Trump is actually making changes to prison reform. One of the first presidents in a while, and that was something that they couldn't really argue.
Right. know? I mean, when you got to look at the facts. You got to say, let me stop being emotional.
But the one thing was funny was like, oh, but he's just doing that to pander to black people.
Right. Well, you damned if you damned if you don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But that's always, you're always going to
working.
Because then I got to start clicking around in iTunes and it's going to come off the stream and then I'm getting pinwheels over here and like, it's just best to let me see what I can do over here.
Yeah, so what were we talking about?
Talking
about Trump.
Prison reform.
How he can't do nothing right.
Yeah. You're always like, and that's what was happening with T.I. Like, when you're emotional, you just want to see what you want to see.
Right.
And you're caught up in that. And that's always, it's kind of like somebody did what he did.
Yeah.
Juicy Smollett. Juicy Smollett.
Or when you hear something about your favorite celebrity, people don't want to accept that. It's the same type of thing. Because you want to hold on to your belief. It's something that's embedded inside of you.
That matters to you more than the truth.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, we all do it.
Right.
To certain extents.
And I've realized that I've had to work on being emotional. When you're emotional and you're stuck, you're going to essentially spin your tire in the mud. You're not really going to get anywhere because you're just stuck. You don't want that to be true.
Yeah.
So you're going to convince yourself that if I go too deep, I might uncover it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I like that even though T.I. annoyed me, I still like that he has switched from what he was to you know what I mean? Because in that walk, I'm hoping that he finds the truth. You know what I mean? Because the more doors you open, eventually you'll enter the room that you need to enter. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I just like that this type of conversation is having, especially, like I said, this is the first time I've seen people who are not political pundits, aka meaning the Al Sharptons, we don't want to hear from them no more.
Yeah.
Our generation is saying, no, that's the Democrats are saying, don't forget, we love Al, we love these type of guys, the political pundits that speak for the black community. And now we're seeing that young black people are saying, no, we don't want to hear from them.
Yeah.
And that's good.
But isn't that kind of like, I don't want to hear from our pastors, or like, it's almost the same type of thing.
Sort of.
And I'm not saying, not to say that all pastors are a bad thing, but I'm just saying, like, people get jaded by that.
And
like,
they should be.
How long has Al Sharpton been talking and nothing has changed?
Nothing has changed.
Or Jesse Jackson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that's what I'm saying, though. I like that it's happening because, to me, if that's what it takes for people to wake up, then so be it. Like I said, I'm not angry at that.
Are we still live? Yeah. Okay.
I like that this is happening. I like that the conversation. And for me, I like that this kind of like, we don't agree with you, so we're going to treat you like crap, which is Jamie and I was talking about this before. What's his name? Milo Yiannopoulos and Ben Shapiro, cancel culture. We got to stop this nonsense. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If you got to be able to listen.
Your point's not valid.
Yeah, like, you got to listen to people.
Yeah, I don't need to listen to you.
But then here's the thing.
But why are we listening to people though?
Because we're confused. I think people are confused at what's going on. They don't know. They want to know the truth.
No, I'm saying, like, why do we have to listen to people?
What do you mean?
Like, if you're saying we got to listen to people, why?
Okay. Well, I think it's because we're trying to find information. We're trying to find truth, you know?
Well, you got to find out where they're coming from.
Right.
You got to find out why they feel the way they feel.
Right.
And people hold on to these beliefs, and you can't get to the bottom of them if you don't.
Well, a lot of times
these conversations.
I feel like one of the things that happens with people is when you're having a conversation with somebody, they're not listening to what you're saying. They're loading up to rebut. They're not actually listening to what you're saying. When you and I are talking, you can't wait for me to shut up so you could tell me how you feel. Mm-hmm. It's not that we're having a conversation where you're actually hearing me. Yeah. It's like you just can't wait to shut.
Julio.
A lot of people are like that. Listen, my dad and I spent a lot of time together. I love my father. But it took a long time for him to realize that, listen to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't cut me off and try to tell me what you think I should say. Mm-hmm. You're not listening to me. That's why we're not getting anywhere. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I want to listen to you, but how this is going to work is let me talk, and then when I'm done, you talk. But you waiting to jump on me to tell me what you think, you're not listening. Yeah. So you have no idea what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's the problem.
But even, I think it's good to go back and forth, but at the same time, we got to get deeper. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like you're saying that. Why do you say that? Why do you feel that way?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
but that's why I think
out where they're coming from.
Right.
It uncovers a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Right. But that's why I think the panel should be a little bit more diverse. Meaning there should be, I don't mind that there's a TI there, but I think
more regular people.
Yes, I think there should be people, entrepreneurs, business, people who walk a different path. Mm-hmm. Because one of the main problems with us as the black community is we rely on celebrity input too much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't think it's just the black community, though. I think
no.
I think it's
most the entire community, but
the world. They idolize
Asian. What do you think, Asian?
But I'm saying who is politically who is used.
Yeah.
And if you can't see that, then you don't want to see. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's the point. You know what I mean?
Right. And which does, and that's the thing. Like that does nothing for black people.
No.
Except
she's pandering to stereotypes.
Feel
good.
Like, oh yeah, you want to vote?
Yeah.
But what Trump is doing is he's actually putting in policies to help the community. You know, that's something that's tangible, something that you can see.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little different.
If you want to see, Jake.
Yeah, if you want to see.
If you want to see.
It's like there's two different, like the level of Hillary Clinton pandering, and even if you want to say that Trump's pandering, it's like, okay, but he's still doing something.
He's putting
like,
action.
Even if you want to say that he's pandering, like, but he's still doing something.
At least you're getting something out of the deal.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what's like, at least see that, like,
right.
You know,
because you could easily say that about anyone. You could say that you know, when Obama would get in front of a black audience and he would be like, now y'all know, like, and he would black it up a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
That dude blacked it up.
He would do it in front of the black. He would, you know what I mean? He did it. There's the clip of him when he talks about he literally tells black people, like, if you don't vote for Hillary, I'm going to be disappointed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he blacks it up when he's talking to them. You know what I mean?
It's going to ruin his legacy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
the same woman he talked when they were running against each other were thrown under the bus.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. She's the one that brought up the whole thing about him not being born in America.
But back to what we were saying about the summit, I think it's important. I think those type of conversations I like that it's happening.
Okay. So let's see if we can pull this clip up now. We've been dealing with trying to get this internet working, and Rach gave me the thumbs up. So I think we're going to be able to watch this now. Here we go. There's that belly.
Stop. Everybody hush. Hush. And listen. Because I'm about to give you the secret to what the fuck y'all are witnessing. What you niggas in each
You know what's funny is, like, it's almost like you have to talk to black people like this sometimes. You know what I mean? Like I've talked to some of y'all about this before. Like
arguing over
I've noticed that when I used to talk to like black girls, especially ghetto ones. Like if you talk to them a certain way, they will listen.
Yeah.
So that's why he's taking this approach.
We're gonna go back to silent. Let's register this shit back down. We're gonna lock this back down. So I'll tell you when America was great. 7 years after the ending of the Civil War.
Exactly what
Hold, Candace, because you didn't give the comment, so you weren't prepared for that one. No, but that's not to jump on Candace, because again, I'm disagreeing with my friend. 7 years after the end of the Civil War, blacks within 7 to 15 years accumulated over 15 million acres of land. Hold on, before we get to clapping, because the niggas bought some shit. Black people were the only skilled labor in there. So if it was welding to be done, iron bending, cotton picking, it was black people. So instantly, your value became more. And Candace has a point. The point that she made about illegal immigration affecting you is that it's going to affect you at some point. Why? If the
talk about this all the time.
is hiring illegal immigrants at an undercut on the rate, it affects the black people who live there who should be demanding $20 an hour because they're being undercut. So when they get wiped out, they have to hire blacks, pay them, and unionize. Right. So she's right on that. But hold the fuck on, young. I'm not finished. You have to remember that people who look like you immigrate too. So before you widely say, fuck them all, remember, America is always going to have a slave class. And if illegal immigrants or legal immigrants will not be the lowest paid workers, those in prison will be, and that always ends up looking like one of their sons. So it circles back around. So that's why people who are black, who are from 2 different plantations, got to get the fuck away from massa long enough to say, how are we going to burn down both their fucking houses? Now, this is my thought.
They just clap for like
I don't care
emotional
if you destroy the Republican or Democratic Party, because at one time blacks were Republicans, and you dominated those 7 years after the Civil War. You were Republicans. You had more blacks in the House and Senate than you do now, and you dominated your own economic communities. You did that as Republicans. As Democrats, you did the same in cities like Atlanta. You failed in other cities, but the most important thing is self-organizing. By the time we get to a candidate, we should have a list that says white man, white woman, these are our demands. You can meet them and get our vote, or not, and we're going to stay home and crochet and make collard greens. But what you cannot do is continue to argue over who is the best master. I don't give a fuck if it's Trump, Obama, your mama, my mama. What the fuck do you have for me and my community? Now, if you do not, and if you stop playing, oh, I'm going to say the snazziest shit to each other on stage, I'm going to show that motherfucker this is going to be a quotable, and we close up the doors, and we simply say, how do we take the good of what you have, the good of what you have, the good of what you have and you have, how do we shape it into a 10-point agenda to present to every local, state, and national politician? If you cannot meet points on our agenda, we simply can't support you. I like you. I love your casinos, Mr. Trump. I like you, Bernie. I like maple syrup that comes from Vermont. But what do you have for us? Now, when talking about have black people done better, we keep doing better and we keep getting knocked down. We keep doing better and we keep doing knocked down. So I'm going to tell people, this is your homework. Fuck trying to convince you. I want you to go home tonight.
And they ain't going to do it.
I want you to listen to Thomas Sowell. I want you to listen to, hold on, I got you coming.
I got you.
All right. I want you to listen to Walter E. Williams.
Yes.
I want you to listen to Antonio Moore. I want you to listen to Yvette Carnell. I want you to listen to the economic strategy of Elijah Muhammad and Marcus Garvey. I want you to listen to the political strategy of Stokely Carmichael. I need you to get on your study and prove yourself worthy shit, because I'm tired of arguing who got the best master. You are already free. Now, nigga, act like it. Do your research. Do your research and decide what's best for you, because what's best for us in Atlanta was a black man who said, okay, I'm the mayor now. You want to do business with Atlanta, meaning you want to have an opportunity zone. 29% of all government contracts had to be attached to black people. When he found out that there were no black architectural firms, he said, black people build driveways, we can build airport runways. So he gave the white architectural firms the rights to build the airport. The fucking Herman Russell Company laid the plane. So my thing is, as black people, how are we going to get in a room together, stop fighting over who's master, decide what our agenda is and how to leverage it? I don't care who agrees with Cap or JD or Jay-Z. I cared that black people as a whole showed up to work that day. What if nobody would have showed up to work? What if everybody said, you know what, fuck it, my nigga? What if everybody on the same day would have done that? If everybody, every policeman, every beer salesman, every car parker, every NFL analyst would have not showed up. Until we ready to do that, we're not serious about being free.
That's real.
You just here to see a show and argue over who got the best master. Until we decide what is the real breaking point. If blacks are 15% of this nation, we should be 15% of Wall Street. We should be 15% of music execs, 15% of Hollywood execs, 15% of governors, 15% of mayors. And until you hit that 15%, you're failing, fucking failing, no matter who your master is. So pick a better master. I say kill your masters and get your own shit.
Yeah, so, I mean, when you look at what he's talking about, I agree with a lot of what he's saying. So, I mean, we talk about it a lot. When you look at, but I mean, in the sense of like, you know, we need to, you know, come to the white man with our agenda. Like, I feel like you don't even need to do that.
Right.
Like, I feel like you just need to start building up your own economic systems in your communities, because when we talk about all the time, like I live in Voorhees, them Indians don't give a damn who's voted in office.
Yeah. Nope.
They are building schools. They're owning every business. They're finding ways to come in and start businesses and buy a property, and they're building their own economic system.
Do you think they had people in the way? Do you think they had people that were trying to block them? Of course. Of course. So, but that's what my issue is with this whole thing. Like, that none of that matters. Right. It's your perspective on it that holds you, and you think that's the problem. No, it's like he was kind of talking about it, but it's still like, don't make it like it's a black thing.
Right. Well, I mean, in a sense, you kind of, I feel like in a sense you kind of need to understand the idea of unifying the idea of being black and building an economy,
right,
so that you're not looking for the white man to you know, come in and give you these opportunities. You don't need that.
But it is a black thing, because there has been proof that companies, that certain banks, I'm not going to name their names, have predatory loans and have discriminated against black people. So it is a black thing when you say, I am purposely going to deny this loan and I'm going to give this loan.
Right.
So there is proof of that.
Right.
So we can't discredit and say it's not. That's what I think he should have articulated and said, was that the 1960s Housing Discrimination Act, you know, banks not giving loan to blacks.
Right.
You know what I mean? Those are real. Those are facts.
Right.
You know what I mean? So those things led to other groups of people coming in, applying for those loans and are being approved.
Yeah.
And then you come along, you want to start a legitimate business, a grocery store, and you get approved. You don't get approved, but you get approved for a barbershop. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's all you're going to do. You know what I mean? So I think the point that he's making is true, but it needs to be expounded on a little bit more. What are we building?
Right.
You know what I mean? And there is proof of that.
But I mean, yeah, it might, that has happened, but that's not happening now.
No, I think
you know,
I think that
like,
that. But I get what you're saying. But the effects of that, you know what I'm saying? There's still effects. That's what I think is happening. There are effects when you don't build generational wealth. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But
where does
But there's people that are coming in the country now with no generational wealth and are are starting something.
No, that's true. But here's what they have. They have a communal system built in place already.
Not all the time.
Not all the time, but it's better than ours. We used to have that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The problem is the idea of us not understanding how to create that system and that communal system.
Because
and
the system
we have this. Our idea of being successful is becoming a rapper or NBA player or getting rich somehow and then flossing on everybody. Like we don't have this understanding of the concept.
Celebrity culture has pushed that.
Right.
But I don't want to get so far off that I discredit anything, because we can't just be like, if blacks would just get it together. It's more than that.
It's partly that, though. We need to realize where we're being programmed, where we're being where the culture is keeping us stagnant.
I agree 100%.
You know what I
agree.
mean?
That
James, can you come a little more into the frame a little bit?
This way?
Yeah, come towards
cool.
it.
That is absolutely true. But at the same time, I feel like part of the problem is we stop at just, you all need to get together, and not go into what happened to cause this system in place.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what I mean, because when I watched this thing by Henry Gates when it was called White Flight, and that's what happened. What happened was in Long Island and certain parts of the city, they would come in and these developers would say to them, hey, listen, blacks are moving in the neighborhood. We're going to leave and go to New Jersey. We're going to do this. And they abandoned these communities in drove. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Blacks weren't getting approved for those loans to move into those communities. You know what I mean?
Right.
So those things are factual. And it led to destruction, you know what I mean? Because they couldn't keep up with that loan. They knew that.
But why did it lead to destruction, though?
What do you mean?
Why did it lead to destruction that white people moved out of the neighborhoods?
Well, I think there was... of course, I think that they were looking at it from the opportunity of, we're getting out of here because blacks are moving. We don't want to live around them. That's an element too.
Right. But I'm saying, why the fact that the white people leave the community, did it then become destructive?
Well, through that, they started doing these housing programs that those government-based initiative programs would bring in people who shouldn't have been there in the first place. They weren't ready to live in a house like that. You know what I mean? So no one taught them that. And then they moved in and they brought in a certain element.
But why weren't they ready to, this is what I'm getting at. You can keep going deeper into what is it that is creating an environment where grown people don't know how to take care of a home.
Oh, I see what I understand what you're saying.
Don't know how to be a productive family,
right,
and take care of a community and build a community and have a community that can economically sustain itself,
right,
without having, white people come in and build businesses, right, and save it. You know what I mean? This is what I'm saying, because when you look at the Nigerians that come here, mm-hmm, and they're one of the most economically rich communities now in the country, even more than whites.
No.
You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
And the Asians are out earning white people now.
Right. No. That's a very valid point. But the difference is this, and again, I'm saying this. The difference is this: they had a sense of community and purpose intact. What has happened to American blacks has been a covert operation to destroy the family, pull fathers out, create lack of jobs.
But you have to allow that to happen, though.
No, you do, but there's certain things that are inevitable. You know what I mean? Once you remove a father from the house, you have no discipline.
How did they remove the father from the house?
Well, through these.
They didn't remove the fathers from the house. They allowed themselves to.
No. I think this. Okay, after the war, right?
Right.
After the war, you come back from the war, right? Mm-hmm. You back then nobody knew anything about PTSD.
Right.
Many of these men came back. They got introduced to drugs. They came back. They started having kids. They forego their responsibility for pleasures. Maybe they were dealing with mental illness. They knew that, but they didn't know. Maybe it wasn't called PTSD. Mm-hmm. That led to a lot of these issues. Not only that, but you have to remember back then the unions were different than they are now. They weren't hiring blacks, so you would go look for a job.
Right.
You couldn't find a job. What I'm saying is this: I do understand that, look, a lot of this is self-inflicted, but there's something responsible for that too.
There is. But what I'm saying is you have to get past what was responsible for it.
No doubt.
And look at, the only thing you can change is the self-inflicted part.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's the only, like, if you, your whole life were abused and kept in a certain place, right?
Right.
And you get to the point where you're like, all right, I got to fix this. I got to make a change.
No, yeah.
If you want to just focus on everything that happened to you,
right,
and not focus on what was I doing,
right,
what was the bad decisions I made, like the situation with you and Franco.
Yeah.
Like, so if you just said, well, Franco's an asshole, let me not put it out there.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if you were just to say, like,
right,
you know, this, you know,
from it, yeah,
and you didn't take any steps to change your behavior and the things that you were allowing yourself to do that put you in that position to let that happen to you, you know, then you're gonna you're just gonna keep falling for the same stuff.
Right.
You're gonna keep yourself in the same cycle, even though it wasn't really technically something that you did, and it was something that someone inflicted on you through manipulation, through you know what I mean, using you and whatever, you know what I mean, taking advantage of your kindness, which is what people do all the time. So it's like,
and it's ignorance. We don't know.
Right.
You know?
Right.
We don't know.
But the difference is, see, I had a setting, I had an environment that I could look around and see, okay, maybe the direction I'm going. A lot of times it's like this. When you look at these environments that are created, the inner city ideologies and mentalities, it takes an extreme strong will to break out of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? What I'm saying is this. I don't want to get so far that we just say, if you just will yourself out of this, you'd be all right.
It's definitely not that.
Versus saying, hey, look, these are the things that created this. But now that you know that, what are you going to do?
Right.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
I'm trying to say that.
But that's the thing. It's about revealing how you got where you are. But then saying, how do we not?
No, it's not about just blaming the white man.
Right.
No. It's saying, look, here's what they did. And I'm going to give you an example I'm talking about. I watched this documentary where they infected these black pilots with syphilis.
Yeah.
The government did that.
Right.
To test that.
Mm-hmm. Now,
just imagine the chaos this would cause, right? So you are... Jamie, you're a young pilot, you're working hard, you're doing well. You come home, you have sex with your wife, which is just what you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. You give your wife syphilis. Now your wife goes to the doctor, she has syphilis, right? Your wife starts accusing you of cheating. You're telling her, baby, listen, I'm pleading with you. I did not cheat on you. You don't know that the government injected this because they told you this is a vaccine for flying and the ducks up there and the thing. So you believe them.
Right.
You can't backtrack because you wouldn't believe that the government would do that. So you start saying, honey, I'm telling you, I did not cheat. I did not lie. So your wife says, you're a damn liar. I'm taking the kids and I'm out of here. Now your life spins out of control. Now you turn to drugs. Now you turn to the nightlife because these people are experimenting. Those things are factual too.
But so that's because of what they did.
Right.
But it's not because of what they did. That's not why everything that you said that just happened to him you can't say it's because of what they did. Because all that stuff that happened or could not have happened, it might not even gone that far, but it all takes people to take responsibility.
How can he take responsibility for something that they did to him?
Well, I'm not saying that he can take responsibility for that, but I'm saying that anything that happens can be changed. It can be shifted.
No, I understand.
And you can gain back what you had and more.
Yeah, I understand that. But that's in hindsight. He doesn't know what happened to him. His family's in turmoil.
So I think what Jake is getting at, if you have a foundation of a relationship of trust, or you know what I mean, you have a certain type of marriage or a certain type of relationship, that type of scenario doesn't always end that way. Like sometimes, if something like that happened to you and the person that you're with is just like, I don't give a fuck, I'm taking the kids and I'm leaving. Like there's issues there already. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's issues
I think if you give your wife a venereal disease, ain't no explaining that. What I'm trying to say is this. I'm trying to say that there's certain things that have led to people's destruction. Now, that may have just been a guy who got syphilis and him and his wife worked it out. and she believed him, or it sent his life and his legacy into turmoil. His kids, your dad ain't shit, and blah blah, and it creates an atmosphere.
Or a lot of these soldiers was sleeping around overseas too, and then they came back and they're like, "Damn, I gave my wife syphilis."
It's true, but I'm saying this is documented.
I'm gonna make something up.
I know that this is something that they did, but what I'm saying is like a lot of these soldiers was over there,
no doubt.
Doing drugs,
and white soldiers. Listen,
with women.
A lot of white men were in Trinidad having kids with black women and come back to Texas and life. No one knew. This is
what they were doing.
But I'm saying they're not.
It's almost like they knew that soldiers would be a good way to do it because they're not going to be suspicious.
Right. But what I'm trying to say is there was a plan to destroy these people's life and watch the onslaught of what it would do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get away from that.
No, absolutely. Just like the drug epidemic, the crack epidemic.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But it doesn't mean that plan is going to be able to be played out. If I just look at what they did, I'm going to be stuck there.
Right.
I can't be stuck in that blame is my point. Like you have to, truth is truth, and truth can supersede that. You know what I mean? Truth can supersede. They did this to me, so everything that my whole being is to destroy them. You get what I'm saying? You're going to be stuck there.
No, I'm not coming from that point. I'm not coming from the point of they did that to me, so those devils, I'm going to get them. No. I'm just saying acknowledge that, look, this is what has happened to cause. We're looking at cause and effect.
Yeah, but this is what I'm trying to say is that these things happen because of our people's ignorance, right? And I'm coming from it.
The Tuskegee experiments are totally, that's a totally separate idea of the government, because they didn't only do that to them. They did that on all different type of classes of people. You know what I mean? So
not only that, there was other experiments that happened.
Tons of experiments.
But I'm saying that those things would. The whole point of it is I'm trying to show that those things have a cascading effect.
They do, But just like child abuse has a cascading effect.
No doubt.
You know what I mean?
No doubt. But we're saying, listen, why would? Because I feel like part of the problem is this. Because I used to say that too, but. Imagine if you tried and you were denied, eventually you would give up. And that's what happened to a lot of soldiers. When they came back and they would go try to get jobs, like Muhammad Ali said, you want me to go fight for your rights over there, but I'm the heavyweight champion of the world. I can't even have a cup of tea next to you.
Right.
That's a point. You know what I mean? Those things has happened.
It's a point, but it's not ultimate truth.
What do you mean? That was his reality.
But it's not the reality. That's my point. You can't discount, if you believe in God, even if you don't believe in God, it doesn't change the fact that God exists. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
and you can't. And just because you don't believe in God, you can't compartmentalize it because you don't believe in God.
No. I think you're missing my point. I'm saying that environment where he's pointing out the inconsistencies of the society that says this is the land of the free, home of the brave, and he's saying to you, hey, look. These are the things you want me to go fight for, and you won't even do that for me. That's a fact. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it, but what I'm saying is this is the land of the free, home of the brave, and that's what it's called. Okay, well, that thing can be made true.
Yeah. Because
the foundation is set. It might be manipulated and perverted, but it's still there to be raised up.
Right.
And that comes from God. You know what I mean?
So if you sit there and say, well, I'm not going to fight for you because I don't have all the freedom that you talk about, instead of saying well, I can fight for the idea that freedom is still attainable for.
Because it comes from him. It's just this place has set a foundation where they said these things. Right. You get what I'm saying? And now these things can be put into perspective through his perspective.
So look past the people that are oppressing you to the idea of the thing that you are trying to attain.
Because if you don't, you'll never see it.
Right.
That's my point. You'll never see it.
No, and I get that. But you guys are elevated guys. You're talking from the perspective of you have had time to rationalize those things. I'm talking about the common folk now. People who don't see that. They're going to see that, look, I'm fighting for some place that don't fight for me. You know what I mean?
I get you, but what I'm saying is that it doesn't matter. Comic folk, non-comic, it doesn't matter. The word is the word is the word. Like,
yeah, but not everybody's a believer. Not everybody.
Exactly.
You know.
But then you got to pay the consequences of what you do in your life.
They have. But I'm pointing out the inconsistencies in this society. I think that,
dude, there's inconsistencies in every single thing in our life.
That's true.
Like,
but
we have to acknowledge an inconsistency.
Yeah, but we have. But what I'm saying is we have to acknowledge.
But it is acknowledged, though.
Yeah,
it's not like it's not acknowledged. I don't know, like, in what scenario that it's not acknowledged. It needs to be moved past. Yeah. At this point,
and you know can't.
No, and that's fine.
There is no area of our lives that.
No, here's what I'm saying:
white supremacy, slavery, Jim Crow, Tuskegee, all that stuff has been acknowledged.
Right. Okay. Here's what I'm saying. Okay. In simple terms, here's what I'm saying. Someone comes over from China, looks at a black guy and said, "I came over here 2 weeks ago and I made it. You're lazy. You haven't done anything."
So.
No, but that's not correct, because they're not looking at systematic racism.
But what I'm saying is, like, so what if that's their opinion? Like, who cares? Like, it doesn't. That doesn't stop you from doing what you need to do.
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. But then
for you to get caught up on that, it's just you hindering yourself.
And I get what you're saying, but I'm still saying that person is oversimplifying the system.
Of course, but that's everything. That's like you going to, China and saying, you guys are under a dictatorship. Like, what is this? You guys aren't free over here. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
But
and they should be able to respond to you and say, no, this is what has happened.
But why do we have to do all of, like, why do I have to explain myself to this person instead of being a light? Like, and when I say be a light, literally showing this person, like, okay, that's what you believe. And they're gonna turn away if they don't want to see it. Like, my point is, like, you don't have to explain yourself to anybody. Like, you don't. You just do it. And then, like, we can't get in conversations with people so I can make somebody see my point.
No, I don't think it's making them see. But I feel like what I've done is I said, okay, why is this happening? Why are people saying these things? And look into it and then say, okay, there's certain things that, like I said, cause and effect. You have to look at how did this start and see what because the people who feel like that they're hindered.
Right. But that's the thing. You do that for yourself. You do that for you to say, all right, now I get it, and now I can move past it, or now I cannot be a victim to it anymore. Or hold on, let me finish. Or now I cannot, like, now I won't stumble when every time somebody says something racist to me and it affects me.
No, you shouldn't. Absolutely not.
That's what I'm saying. So like, you do that to get past it.
Right.
You don't do that to then be like, now I can tell everybody who has something to say.
No. Okay. Let me expand on it a little bit. I'm not saying that that's what you go to say. Look at me, I'm the victim.
Right.
If someone says to me, like before, and this has happened to me before, when someone says blacks are lazy, etc., 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 and I didn't know what to say at the time. But now I'm saying, okay, fine, that person can say that to me, and I can say I'm strong enough now, or I can say, no, that's not true. Here's the systematic things that cause that. Now, have blacks helped by believing this and falling into the trap? Absolutely.
Right.
But these are the systematic things that has helped to cause that. So that person sees that you're blaming, but at the same time you don't understand what is happening. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And my thing, if someone says blacks are lazy to me, I'd be like,
who cares?
Like, what?
No, but I think it's important to have the conversation.
You can have the conversation, but it's like, you could say whites are lazy.
Or why do you feel that way?
Right.
Yeah.
Because then they can open up.
What is making you say that?
Yeah. Right. And it's not like I'm offended. It's more or less like, let's have the conversation.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this.
But a lot of times, like, when we throw facts out there, people don't care.
Yeah, just like the summit we were just talking about.
Sometimes anecdotal, like I was talking to him about, like, anecdotal evidence is important. Like, stories are important.
Right.
Like, testimony, you know what I mean?
Right.
These are the things that are heartfelt. These are the things that you've experienced in your life, and with the right perspective, it can bring freedom to people's lives.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's why, like, I get what Candace Owens is saying, but like that, I even said, like, what they said, Farrakhan could say the same thing. It's all about the perspective.
Right.
Because the perspective is where you're going to get freedom from.
Right.
Farrakhan ain't bringing anybody. He's been saying the same thing for years.
Right.
They're still in the same place they are.
Right.
Why?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they're not free from what's inside of them.
Right.
It's the hurt, you know?
But I think that's why I'm trying to say is I feel like when you when you have a wider understanding of why things happen, then you would, you know what I mean?
You should have a wider understanding,
right.
But not for the purpose of not for the purpose of like we were saying, not for the purpose of getting into debates with everybody. It's for the purpose
using
of
it, having it as
understanding is for you to free yourself.
Yeah, free yourself.
You know what I mean?
But in the process, I have had many conversations with the guys in the skilled trades who are white, usually,
right?
And they come from the perspective of the perception that, you know, black guys are a certain way,
right?
And I point out to them their inconsistencies. You do the exact same thing, but you're not. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm not coming from like, man, if you, I'm not.
Right.
We're gonna let's talk about it,
right?
But don't run away when we start talking about it. You know what I mean? Like, let's talk about it, but let's put it all out there. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, we could talk about it.
Yeah. If that.
Yeah, I get that,
yeah.
but it's kind of like what I kept cutting you off, but the.
Mona's looking at you right now.
I didn't, but I stopped myself. No, but what I was gonna say about like people talking about the Illuminati. You know what I mean? Like you can get so pulled into that, like you know what I mean? The Illuminati. See, it's the Illuminati that did. And there's truth to that. There's a lot that has to do with like the music industry and whatever, you know, about all that. And there's a lot of occult stuff going on. But if you just stay there, like
no, that
you will not get.
I agree with you.
You're gonna.
I agree with you.
Go down a rabbit hole that you will.
Because I had to get off of it too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let's not forget. I the first time I bought a computer was 2012.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell is going on here?
He was on YouTube.
I was anti-technology. I wasn't a technology guy, but I do realize that you can't consume so much. You know what I mean? Like Jake and I love ice cream.
Right.
I can't. I can't do it
they
myself.
do.
If I eat all that ice cream, I'm already chubby. If I eat all that ice cream, you know what I mean? I love it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I like where it's going, but it's dangerous.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that's what it is. The issue I think I'm having with the young black community is this. We have monolithed ourselves into thinking we should all think alike. That's my problem. But I want to, if we're going to talk, let's talk about what caused it, how it happened,
right?
What can we do?
But what I see, and the thing that I always try to point out is I see an entire ignoring responsibility.
I agree.
Ignoring accountability.
I agree.
For the things that we just accept. Like I know the things that I did growing up and accepted and bought into and just thought were part of the culture that I realize now were like destructive behavior. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And some people just continue down that road and just think that that's cool because that's what we do. You know what I mean? And simple.
I always go back to this thing when we used to sell phones. Yeah. You know, and the mentality of like when we dealt with black women.
Yeah. Right.
You make them feel bad so that they can like you know what I mean? Right. Like you kind of like talk down to them.
It's like it's exactly what Killer Mike was, what he was doing.
Yeah,
that's why I pointed that out because he's like niggas, motherfuckers. Like he's got you got to do that to penetrate the armor.
Because I would respond to that.
Yeah, because they have an armor up of like, all right, if you're soft spoken, if you're corny, like I'm not even listening to you. Right. So if you can break through that armor with the way you're saying things, then you can get somewhere. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No doubt. But like I said,
But wait. Because what I want to say is that anybody can manipulate that.
Right.
Anybody can
use that
against you.
Yeah.
And it's even like, it's almost subconscious.
We did it selling CDs.
Yeah.
We did it.
Right. So even selling CDs.
We use that every day.
It's so subconscious that you don't realize the programming that because of the abuse that you've been in.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So you're saying you guys are responsible for swindling ladies out of money.
Oh, yeah.
It
was definitely.
Right.
100%.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. So that's the point, is that there are some people who are responsible for swindling these people.
Right. But at the same time, it's like, why you have to understand, like, what are the things that I'm attached to that allow me to be like, it's like the woman that watches the infomercial. We talked about infomercials last week. We talked about the idea of like how infomercials, they will take the simplest task and make it seem so difficult so that they can sell you a product, right? And there's people that watch that and say, I gotta have that. Right. You know what I mean? Right. And there's something that you are attached to that lets you be drawn to that. There's something that you're attached to that makes you want to keep tuning into Love and Hip Hop and Housewives every week. You know what I mean? There's something that you don't want to let go of that makes you want to watch destruction all the time. You know what I mean? And if that can be used to manipulate you, you have to then become. You have to get to the point where you say, all right, what is it about me that's allowing me to be manipulated by these things that I hold, that I love, that I hold on to? You know what I mean?
And I think part of that is we have created in our society a culture of chaos. And the culture of chaos is music. The culture of chaos is entertainment, because that's what it does. It's a breeding ground for that. You guys would admit, back in the day when you guys were doing R&B.
Hold up. Culture of chaos was when they were infecting people with syphilis.
No. I'm talking about from the medial standpoint.
But what I'm saying is that the wild is back then too. That's my point. Like, this is the whole thing about trying to manipulate and like, because an animal can be tamed.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? An animal can be tamed to bark and say what you want it to say and go to the bathroom where you want it to go. So I think that's the problem. Like,
no, what I'm trying to talk about is this modern entertainment system, the love and hip hop thing. Because why you're saying, why are we attracted to that? Right. I'm saying we are attracted to it because within us is this desire to peek in. We're kind of, I know this is the wrong word, but we're kind of voyeuristic is kind of, it's not the right terminology, but I don't know the right. But we're voyeuristic in terms of what are these people doing over there. Right. So we want to peer in, and the producer of these shows figure out, oh, if I can show the clip, this is how I'm going to advertise the show. This fall, she throws a wine glass at her friend. Ooh, and you want to tune in to see where this goes. Right. So they know how to manipulate you to, the clip is going to be, remember the Jersey Shore clip?
That's my point though.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying that's the beginning of the culture of chaos. So that's what I'm trying to say, why they're attracted to it.
But what I'm saying is you have to then say, why am I being manipulated to watch?
No, that's a good thing. I'm just saying that this stuff is designed. I'm looking at the designers too.
I agree. It's designed. But you have to fall into the beat. It's designed to capture you, but you have to be open to be captured.
Oh no, I agree. If you fall for it, you're a captive. You wanted to be caught. Right.
But that's what's been happening. Right. From even back. In the day. Yeah. It's not
ancient times, bread and circus. Yeah. It's something we've been dealing with.
Right. It's not that it's like something, it's not new, it's just been multiplied.
Yeah. And it's not something that's unique to the black thing.
No, not at all. That's a human thing.
That's a human thing.
But that's another form of manipulation Constantine. Another form of manipulation that people try to spew out there is that, like, this is somehow like the most egregious, unique situation that ever happened in history.
Let's clear it up. It's not just black people falling for this, because I watched the whole thing about the Fire Festival, and it was all Instagram models that sold the idea to these stupid rich kids. Hey, come to this thing. I'm going to be there. They're not going to be there. Right. You know what I mean? But the reason you're going is because you want to tell everybody, I was here and you're not here. You know what I mean?
Because I'm important.
And the same thing with those shows. It's the same thing with those shows. Girl, did you see Love and Hip Hop last night?
You don't want to be left out.
You don't want to be left out. But it's not just women that do that, because I remember in the 90s, I remember going over to my boy's house and they put on an episode of Oz because they were raving about it. I'm like, why are we watching a show about black dudes in prison raping each other and conniving and skit? I'm not going there.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even have to go that far. Look at sports.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
You don't have, like, men fall for that shit hook, line, and sinker with sports.
They can remember stats, but can't remember policies.
They can remember every stat from here to 1975. You know what I mean? Like, I hear them calling into the talk radio all the time, and they'll remember shit. They'll bring up stuff from, like, when their childhood. You know what I mean?
Right. And my thing is, I do understand what you guys are saying. You have to look. You have to first look inward to see how come you're attracted. What's happening with you? But I'm saying we still have to acknowledge the beast, which is that thing that's happening. That, you know what I'm saying?
But overcome that beast.
No, I agree with that. That's definitely true. But I think a lot of people are struggling because they don't know how to.
My thing is like, you're in the wild. Like, you act. There's no. It's funny. Jay-Z said there's no church in the wild. You know what I mean? There's no civilization in the wild. Like, it's the wild. And then we're trying to bring some kind of sanity in the wild. No, that's not how it works. You gotta come out of that. You know what I mean? It's literally like we were talking about last week. Your desire is false idols. What do? They put you in a position where they put fear upon you, right? Fear in ways that how do I get out of this situation? How do I not deal with this anymore? And then they give you solutions.
Right. We create the problem, then we have the solution.
Right.
No, I get that. It's called a 5 step forward, 3 steps back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's how they do it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But that's how the wild they learn from other things, entities. You know what I mean?
It's created.
It's the wild is what I'm saying, and it's how they get us to continue this cycle, like Jamie was saying, these cycles.
No.
How do we come out of these cycles? You're not going to come out of cycles.
And I want to add to it. I'm just saying, that's not just a black thing. That's a human.
It's a human thing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But the problem with the black culture in America is that I feel like we've allowed it to become our identity.
Right.
And it's like when people try to bring us out of that identity, it's like, but I don't want to. I want to hold on to. You know what I mean? Everything's racist.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not only that, like, you call yourself a nigger.
Yeah.
You're holding on to the hurt.
Right.
And now it's become an idol in your life. You're idolizing it.
Yeah.
It's literally your imagery that you're holding on to.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And then you're living up to it.
Right.
Like,
and part of that is we have allowed inner city, broken welfare culture to sort of set the pace and the tone for us as black people.
It's become glorified.
We have allowed that, and that you can't blame on whites. They have set the archetype, meaning the studio heads to promote that kind of music, but you don't have to consume it.
You don't have to consume it.
So that I understand.
Right.
But because I remember that. I remember being in high school and coming from another culture.
Right.
And not growing up with hip hop. And I did feel like, whoa, like what's wrong with me?
Right.
You know what I mean? Why don't I have the desires to get tattoos and earrings and wear Timbs and all the stuff? Because I wasn't raised like that.
Or why don't I identify with this music that everyone does?
I didn't identify with that. But I feel like part of that is
you weren't programmed, dude. That's what it is.
Yeah.
We are, from the time we're little in this country, we're programmed into that ideology.
Yeah.
And
you had a different kind of programming.
Yes.
You still had a programming.
Yeah.
Nudity on the beach.
We all do. We all do.
Kidding.
But so all of that was about the summit.
Did we go off track?
We just went on a long tangent about.
But it's good.
It is good.
Like, it's not going to change if we don't talk about
it. Right. But my thing is this, and I hope that you guys understand what I'm trying to say. I feel like we shouldn't let other groups of people marginalize or point a finger.
I agree with
you. I think
you.
we should be able to say, no, hold on here. You're not perfect.
But I also think that we shouldn't care.
No, we shouldn't. We should challenge them.
If it's someone that is worth challenging.
Oh, yeah.
You can't just be challenging everybody on that.
Listen, the Bible says don't go argue fools lest you become ones. I understand that.
But it's like, okay, so like, your sister's, with a white dude, and if a conversation like that ever came up, and that would be a person that you challenge, like, okay, well, let's talk about it. It's not so like for you to take it and
I don't
be
think
offended.
that would happen.
I know. But I'm just saying, like, that would be a situation for that, or like the guys that you work with, that you're around, that you need to have a relationship.
But true. And I think part of it is you have to cultivate within you this idea that just because someone says something that I don't like, I don't have to kill them.
Exactly.
Let's talk about it then.
Let's talk about it.
I'll tell you the story. I remember this, a guy that I used to work with real quick, a white guy. He talked about why, I think I may have mentioned this before, why interracial don't work.
Right.
And he forgot that he told me that his parents were divorced.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was done giving me his spiel about why black and white won't work, I said, okay, let me ask you a question. How come your parents didn't work?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because his idea was, white and white would work because they're white and white. Black and black would work because they're black and black. Black and white won't work because they're black and white.
Right.
And I was like,
such riveting.
That is
just such genius.
But here's what it did.
I see what he did there.
Here's what it did. For the next 2 weeks, this dude would not talk to me.
Really?
He wouldn't talk to me. We sat right next to each other. He wouldn't talk to me. And the purpose of that was I didn't come at him like, man, what the F, man? I didn't try to kill him.
Right.
I just let him think on that.
But you asked him a question, like,
yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Did he ever come to you?
After a while, he
I got it.
He finally started talking to me again.
My mom's a bitch.
He finally started talking to me and he said, look, I wasn't trying to start anything. I was just saying. I was like, look, man, you learned that from somebody and you never looked into it. You never challenged it.
Right.
And I said,
isn't that what we all do?
Right.
That's what we're talking about. It's like the reason why they're all yelling at Candace Owens when she says something is because you learned that from somebody.
You learned it.
They are false beliefs that we keep in our hearts.
Right.
It was the moment where she talks about where T.I. says, I just can't listen to anything you said, even though you was speaking some truth, because you are supporting someone that refuses to condemn white supremacy.
Right. And that's just ignorance.
But it's not just ignorance.
It's not just ignorance. It's not true.
Yeah.
And but because this is what they've been programmed. This is what we've been programmed to.
And this is what he's familiar with.
Right.
And because he's familiar with it, he holds on to that.
Well, number one, T.I. is an entertainer. So he's using certain things to get a reaction out of the crowd.
And that's what Mike was saying.
That's what
the gotcha thing.
Yeah, stop with that.
Yeah.
So I think on a forum, if he and Candace sat down and they can talk, I don't think he would react like that.
Right.
The unfortunate thing is we live in a society where entertainment is the ruler, is the Lord.
I was thinking that too. Like that might have been a better forum if they didn't have an audience.
I don't think that's why that's my thing. It's like
one-on-one.
Yeah,
not even one-on-one. If they could all be in a conversation like this, but no audience, because the audience just gets in the way,
and the audience will react.
Right,
the audience will react because that's how people are. People are,
and you can't put a bunch of celebrities and entertainers in front of an audience and expect those natural charismas and skills not to come out. That's like stupid.
They're gonna play to the crowd.
Right. Like that's what they do.
And
it's their
as soon as
job.
the first one gets applause, the next one wants applause.
And now, because now the other one's gonna try to do the other one.
Yeah.
But it's that goes back to their core beliefs.
Right.
That's what they're familiar with. That's what they do all the time. That's what they've been trained up in.
And speaking of core beliefs and trained up in, and what people have been brainwashed into. So remember I was telling you guys that there's a news story about the ex-Tampa Bay Buccaneers player.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar.
And I'm calling him the new Juicy because this is the ridiculousness of it. So what he essentially it's essentially another hate crime hoax. Okay. But the absurdity of it is what jumps out at me, because the only reason why he got caught, and I don't know, maybe Rachel can the article should be up on there. So it's this dude. He got caught staging a hate crime hoax on two of his businesses. I think one of them is a restaurant and one of them was something else. I forget what it was. Maybe you can see that. But he goes in the business and spray paints swastikas everywhere and MAGA on stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's like as soon as you hear that, you're like, who does that? Who just like vandalizes something and spray paints MAGA everywhere?
Right.
You know what I mean? But when you have been bought into this concept that like Trump supporters are evil and racist and just crazy racists that hate black people, it's like you're gonna think that that's what they would do. Just like Jussie Smollett thought that. His story sounded believable.
Well, this makes sense.
A Trump supporter would totally do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You want that to be true.
So it's like, but not only do you want it to be true, you believe that it could actually happen.
You watching too much CNN.
Yeah. So like, look, monkey, can like just read the most racist crap. So what happened was, a witness just happened to come up while he was doing it and saw. and told the police that they saw him do it. And so the police then got a search warrant and searched his vehicle, found the spray paint, found all the stuff that he used.
Oh my God.
And
seriously, he's like the dumbest.
Found the crowbar that he used to break into his own
bag of tricks.
Yeah. So now he got arrested. He's being investigated for insurance fraud because he filed an insurance claim over it.
Wow.
And it's just, but the thing is, if that one witness didn't see what happened, we'd be hearing about this all over the news. He'd be on Good Morning America right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they'd be saying Trump's America, where hate crimes are on the rise.
Well, yeah. I do think that the Jussie Smollett thing kind of like
made people
pumped the brakes on it because everybody stepped in that one.
Did it?
No, he's saying the news outlets.
The news outlets.
Okay.
It's gonna happen, but I'm saying.
But the thing is, he got caught so quick that they didn't even get a chance to jump on that.
Right.
But I guarantee you, Kamala Harris would have been tweeting about a lynching bill.
They're all. I think they all have been made a fool by Jussie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think you're gonna be.
They've been made a fool many times over.
Right.
It's just crazy that they just continue in this.
But the thing is, they keep lying about it, and they keep falsifying it,
right?
Because what they do, the news now, they just report on something and then they backtrack it.
Well, let's be honest, right? The people who believe Jussie Smollett wanted that to be true because they're fans of the show,
right?
Okay, because when you listen, if you're a rational,
not only that, I think some people that weren't even fans of the show, not to cut you off, but I think it's also the idea that people want to believe that that the country is like there's that element of like, I want to believe that it's just so bad and chaotic that it feeds my need for that.
Yeah. Sure, you know? Because then it makes me feel like I'm okay to be. See, I'm here for a reason,
right? Right, and like I said, if you're a rational human being and you can rationalize things on your own, you can really figure this thing out, you would look at that story and realize this doesn't make any sense.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And the same thing like this dude's story, like when the police, why don't the police say like, really someone just came in and just vandalized your store and they just couldn't take the fact that you own the business, so they just spray painted monkey and MAGA everywhere. Yep. Like, really? Yep. That's what they're doing now? That's what people are doing? There's black businesses everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure that has happened. Right. You know what I mean? But it's just like,
well, it's like, but
it's too convenient.
But it's like this. That's no different than the white woman who drowns her kids and says, a black guy did it, or the runner, a black man kidnapped and raped
believable.
Me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's the same concept because there's certain things in this society that happens that people are triggered. Whites are triggered by a black guy raped a white woman. You know what I mean? Right. It's like this atmosphere that we have created.
The funny thing is,
prepare that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Funny thing is,
boy, you're on a moan roll tonight. You know?
The funny thing is, most black people wouldn't do that. Most white people wouldn't say a black person did this to me. You know what I mean? I don't think it goes that far, but it's the select few that make it so bad.
Right.
You know, it's those few that would go that far that make it so bad, just like this.
Right.
I just watched that movie. I watched it again.
But real quick, it has happened before where white women have divorced and killed their kids and blame a black guy.
Remember Rosewood?
Yeah, it's like
no, it happened.
I was just going to say
now about the movie I was watching with Thurgood Marshall. With the woman who tried to blame the guy he had sex with for trying to kill her and raping her.
And a white woman just was caught lying on these two football players for rape, and she had a threesome.
Yeah,
went wrong. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no.
I had to treat you like Mona.
But I
was like, damn, I ain't cutting nobody off tonight, and I just keep getting it.
I was like, where's a fridge when you need one?
Yeah, but it's funny because it happens, but it doesn't happen nearly enough. I mean, nearly as much as the population, but when those things happen.
When the narrative is we need to create this atmosphere of people are being emboldened by Trump and hate crimes are on the rise. So when a story like that hits, they need it.
I'm like waiting for one of these stories that's not. So this was right outside of Atlanta. The Starbucks thing was in Philly.
Yeah.
Juicy was in Chicago.
Yeah.
Like if you tell me it happens like in Midwest, I'll be like, all right.
Tell me it happened in like Kansas somewhere,
right.
or like Alabama, like then
but
it's
like,
a little more believable.
The urban cities, it's hard when like I live here and I've never seen anything like that. You're like, this doesn't really sound plausible, but okay, let's start reading. Like, what?
And please believe, these type of people are emotional. And what they want to do is they want to, aside from the political climate, these people want to induce sympathy.
Right.
That's what that is. They want to induce, he wants people to feel sorry for him. Look at me.
They're narcissists.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, and also he knows that if he gets away with it, just like Juicy thought, like it will give him more spotlight. It will give him more fame, more.
His business would, be more successful.
I mean, look at the woman that just.
But we came from that era, though. Think about it. Sorry.
No, you actually
you cut him off,
cut and then a cut. So
you moaned him.
Did I?
Yeah,
you just moaned him.
I moaned him.
Yeah.
No, so look at the woman who just tried to blame the Asians, and then the other girl who blamed the dude, the Cuban guy. You know, the nail salon
place.
thing.
Oh yeah.
And then the woman who. And it was
we showed that clip last week. The woman in Atlanta.
Yeah, that tried to act like the Cuban guy that looked white.
Oh yeah. Erica Thomas.
All these things are starting to come out. You know, these false accusations.
All this fake stuff.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is like back in the 90s when OJ killed that woman, it was white women accusing black men of rape constantly.
Right.
You know, every white woman that went on a jog was raped by a black man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those things come in periods. You know what I mean? Where whatever the current climate of the day is.
He just said OJ killed that woman.
He did. I ain't defending him, please.
Come on, man. Everybody knows OJ killed her.
Allegedly.
He wrote a book. If I did it, this is how I do it.
Love don't.
But the point is, I feel like those things come in waves where whatever political climate / racial tension / whatever is happening at that time, you'll see a rash of these kind of like things happen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But it's even worse when you see the media causing it because the media needs. The media is getting clicks and getting money off of creating hysteria through Trump.
They're hurting.
Right.
Nobody's tuning in to watch the news anymore. They need these.
They got their
stories.
Best ratings during like the whole Russia thing. And
listen,
now that that's over.
I did a test myself. I was like, let me actually watch this for a week to see how this is. Bro, you get 5 to 10 minutes of what's happening. All right? 5 minutes of it is actually news. The other 5 is like sort of what's going on around the world. And the next 2 hours is bullshit.
Right.
Okay? Wasting your time.
It's just always like some side story. It's always like some weird side story.
And here's what happened. No executive thought that some idiot with a camera, Logan Paul, would have 20-some million views.
Right.
All right. When I've gone to school to MIT or to wherever to learn and figure out marketing, and this idiot comes along, hey man, look at me, I'm about to stick my dick in this shark, and that gets 10 million views.
Right.
No one thought that.
Or like a dude like Joe Rogan just having a 3-hour conversation.
That's blowing their minds
because they said that would never work.
They would never work. So what did they have to do? Panic. Get on the Juicy Smollett story. Did someone kidnap a baby? Is that black guy hit somebody? Is that tranny?
Everyone hates Trump. Let's just keep spinning with that.
Racist.
Spinning with that.
News. We gotta get click.
Let's try to smear the ones that are winning.
The Kavanaugh. This Kavanaugh story revealed a lot.
Yeah,
that just happened.
Yeah,
especially with the New York Times, like the fact that they released that thing under, like they couldn't release it under news, because then it wouldn't be journalistically ethical. So they released it under the opinion section. But then they can tweet it out as news. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was tweeted. The tweet had to get retracted. I saw a news article from The Hill. I think I posted that up about how the tweet actually had to get deleted because it was tweeted out by the authors of the book, and it was tweeted to mislead the headline. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's it right there. So Kavanaugh book co-authors admit to writing misworded New York Times tweet, and because what they did is they wrote a book based off of the Kavanaugh thing showing like the atmosphere at Yale at the time and trying to go in depth with all that, basically just trying to bring it to light, and they release it on the 1 year anniversary of, you know what I mean? It's all a form of manipulation to get people to talk about this again, but they couldn't release it under news because there's no news to talk about, so they release it under opinion. But then they insert this idea that there's a new accusation. That's what the tweet was, right? You know, and but they leave out the part where the person that they brought them the accusation was a Clinton operative.
It was one of the classmates though, right? Like,
yeah, he was one of the classmates, but he's also a Clinton operative now. You know what I mean? He actually was on the committee during the Clinton's impeachment. And then they leave out the part where the lady basically said, I don't remember anything.
She don't remember nothing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And her friend said that never happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Then they blame the editorial board for saying that, because what they kept going back and forth, and this article talks about how the editorial board at the New York Times purposely left that sentence out where the lady says that she, you know, they did it on purpose because
to mislead you.
Well, they claim it was because they didn't want to have her name included in the article or in the essay, because they didn't want to reveal her name. But they took out, they didn't have to say her name. Right. They could have said the alleged victim. Right. You know what I mean? And then completed the sentence. But they took out the whole 2 sentences that had the most important information in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bro, what's funny though, I'm sorry to cut you off, Jamie, but the new thing now is the situation where another guy pushed Brett into
some woman's hands.
His penis. Yeah. He pushed him, and then his penis
ended up in her hand. Yeah.
But you don't remember that if it really happened?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
sounds like a bad soap opera.
Well, no, she's saying it didn't happen. Like, she's saying she.
No, that's what I'm saying though. They're trying to say that happened, but you don't remember if that happened. That's gonna be in your brain. Yeah. Like if that happened to you, Rach, you know that you would know whose penis was on your hand.
Yeah. It's never a time when that hasn't been the case.
Whose penis is this? Who brought this penis?
Wait, was there a penis in my hand?
That's not something you forget, especially if it's like an inappropriate situation. And was this in public that this happened?
Yeah.
Supposedly,
at a party. Supposedly,
very notable.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So there's a CBS news story that they actually did some good reporting on this, because they revealed some of the details in the book that they were not talking about in the essay at all. No one was talking about. So I want to see if we could play that real quick, because I just want to show the contrast, and like, because everyone is calling for this dude's impeachment over some bullshit. Like, it's crazy, dude. Let's see if it plays.
Pinwheel.
Here's another laundry hat from Homemade Simple. Do you want ready-to-wear clothes?
Now we're selling other people's.
1 second.
So the article actually goes into, they actually found the lady that Christine Blasey Ford was saying was her star witness in the whole thing that didn't want to talk before. Mm-hmm. And that's what they talk about. You'll see it when the article comes up.
And they were trying to backtrack too, just to.
Oh no, they did. They went back and changed. No. They went back and added that line in to the essay.
Yeah, but I mean, when they were going on,
Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh will be impeached. Some of the Democrats running for president were calling for that after an accusation against Kavanaugh from back in his college days was made public. And Jan Crawford reports tonight we're hearing from a close friend of Christine Blasey.
Christine Blasey.
Christine Blasey. Come on, bruh.
All right, want to start giving us a recap if you remember what they say?
I just started.
Hold on.
The allegation of misconduct by Brett Kavanaugh at a college party set off a firestorm. Democratic presidential candidates called for impeachment. President Trump.
This is what they do. They
Kavanaugh
jump on it.
should start suing people for libel.
On the basis of this flimsy, uncorroborated story. They're calling for Justice Kavanaugh to be impeached.
The incident was detailed in the New York Times from a new book by two of the paper's reporters. According to a Yale classmate of Kavanaugh's, he exposed himself to a woman while at a college party in the 1980s. But late Sunday, the Times issued a clarification. The female student declined to be interviewed, and friends say she does not recall the incident. Today, Democratic Senator Chris Coons said he was aware of the allegation during the confirmation hearings and wrote the FBI asking it to investigate.
I think it was too narrow, too brief, and too constrained, and the American people deserve to know why.
And the FBI said there's nothing to investigate.
Kavanaugh was narrowly confirmed after a gut-wrenching day of testimony from him and Christine Blasey Ford, who accused him of assaulting her at a high school party. Speaking publicly for the first time to the Times reporters, Ford's close friend Leland Kaiser, who Ford said was at the party, said she didn't believe Ford's account and that it just didn't make any sense. She also says she told the FBI that Ford's allies pressured her to say otherwise.
Now, all four people that Ford identified as being at that high school party in the summer of 1982 have now said no such party occurred. And today, both the Republican chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee and the Democratic chair of the House Judiciary Committee said they would not support impeaching Kavanaugh.
Okay, you can stop it now. So now, not only did they try to insert this new accusation, but they left out the part where the person that Christine was saying was the one that was going to corroborate her story totally said this never happened. Not only that, I don't even remember any of these parties she's talking about. And so now all four of the people that she said were witnesses have said no. They left that out.
And they said that, like, they said at first they had it in there.
Yeah.
But then the editors went and took it out.
That was the thing from The View I was trying to. Did that ever go through? Rach, check the.
Because I saw that on, I think it was like MSNBC.
Okay.
Right. And then, but the funny thing is, they did like an hour-long NPR interview before all this came out.
Wow.
Where they could have said, like, well, this happened and this happened, but we didn't put that in because and it never.
Let's watch what they said at The View, because this is hilarious. These are the two writers of the book.
Here on this. First of all, there was no desire to withhold important information from our readers. We have all of it in the book, and the essay is an adaptation of the book. That, of course, we had to edit for length and clarity.
Clarity.
During the editing process, there was an oversight and this key detail about the fact that the woman herself has told friends she doesn't remember it and has not wanted to talk about it.
Just conveniently.
And it was an
oversight.
That's
the part that got cut.
And the Times adjusted it, and we're very sorry that it happened.
I understand that the woman didn't want her name out publicly. If not, why is her name in the book?
Her name is in the book because we think it's relevant information and we think it's accurate. And we know that her name was provided to members of the Senate and the FBI by a witness named Max Steyer, who is a good governance activist in Washington, who's a respected figure.
This is the guy.
He provided this name. The name is in documents. It's in a letter. Right? He did at one point, I understand, do work for Williams and Connolly.
Why wasn't that in the piece? Because that is, if we're talking about
why wasn't that mentioned?
Right. I understand it's relevant background. In this case, it was a very short mention, and we only talked in brief terms about what he's doing right now. So we didn't see all of that context.
We didn't want to tell you that because
we don't go back in the past.
Sounds like a whole bunch of bull.
Well, you also sort of threw the New York Times opinion board under the bus a little bit, saying that they chose to omit it. I've written opinion pieces in the New York Times. In my experience, I get the final say on what runs. At least that's what happened with my recent.
We were also John McCain's daughter.
Well, we're a team at the New York Times. We have processes in place. We wrote this. It was edited. There was back and forth, as there always is. It's kind of a team effort, frankly, to make sure that everybody's comfortable with the final product. And there was just an oversight here. So
did you guys just miss it? Did you miss that was so important? But you are the authors of the book. Did you just miss it?
It's in the book.
It's in the
and we
I miss it in the New York Times opinion piece.
And we first had it in the piece. And so it's about an editing process, which is iterative. It has a lot of different drafts. And, you know, I think actually the way it happened was the editors being concerned about naming her, because the Times has a tradition of not naming the victims and really has to deliberate whether or not to do that. In that sentence that had her name, it also had that she doesn't remember it. They took out the whole sentence, and in removing her name in order to kind of protect her and make sure we weren't sort of sending people to her door.
It was virtuous.
We also took out.
We kept this from you.
The fact that she didn't
virtuosity. Did you read it right before it went to print?
You know, we thought we had, yeah. And as soon as we realized this, we corrected it, and they wrote an editor's note and they restored it.
But did you realize it because Molly Hemingway made the correction? And I just want to know blankly, can you understand why so many people think that this might be a hatchet job?
Yes, and I actually think, Megan, it's a good point, because the reason we did this book in the first place was that this was such an incredibly polarizing event in our country's history. Everyone
we thought we were going to get famous.
Yeah.
It was
and we wanted to bring it back up again a year later to the day.
Yeah, we're living out a version of that right now.
And
why would you want to read a book of bullshit?
on details in our book. Yeah. The reason we did this was to revisit these events with 10 months of reporting, to give an in-depth portrait, frankly, to actually look more closely at Brett Kavanaugh and who he is, what kind of person he was as a young boy, you know, through high school, through college, what kind of professional he was, what were his 12 years on the court before he got to the court, and we actually found that he was, you know, we have found that we corroborate these stories of Deborah Ramirez and Christine Blasey Ford, but in the 36 years
you corroborate those stories even though the people there don't corroborate? Who corroborates it?
Error of his ways, and he consciously reformed himself, or he grew up and simply matured. He has been an exemplary judge. Everyone we talked to couldn't speak more highly of him on both sides of the aisle. And he actually has a much more nuanced view, kind of position on the court. He's not a right-wing ideologue either. He's actually an establishment conservative.
We can stop it now. This is just them.
I went back when he was a fetus and he kicked his mom. He's so dangerous.
They're doing damage control now.
Oh, yeah,
That's
of course.
This is.
You can't give an in-depth overview 10 months later while leaving out all the key facts.
Right.
Yeah. That's not
exactly
news or journalism. Right. Yeah. Like, stop telling the story. You had one job.
Because the whole point of the overview was those two incidents that made no sense and have no backing. Right. So what are we talking about?
Yeah. And what you're writing is an expose piece.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
And they, like you said, they thought that they were going to write this book and everyone was going to want to read it because they thought that when they read this book, they're going to get the details that the government was keeping from them. Yeah. You know what I mean? That everyone, it's corruption. So we're going to read it in this book that the New York Times is authoring. You know what I mean? Because both of these women work for the New York Times and they're authoring this book. Mm-hmm. And then the New York Times is like, all right, but we need to put something out that's like a teaser about it, but we can't do it as news because there's no real news in it. The only news in it is stuff that goes against what we've been saying. So we'll put it out as an opinion piece and we'll leave out some stuff. And then people will be outraged and now they're all calling for his impeachment. It's like ridiculous. And people just fall for this stuff, man.
They really do.
Yeah, almost every Democratic nominee.
Not only that, just the average person. The average person will sit there and really be like, you have a rapist on the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, if they say stuff about, who don't I like? Joe. You know?
Joe.
Who's Joe? Crazy Joe?
Who's Crazy Joe?
Crazy Joe?
Joe Biden.
Oh, Sleepy Joe.
Sleepy Joe.
Crazy Joe.
Well, he calls him Crazy Joe too.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. Calls him Sleepy Joe. He calls him Crazy Joe. Well, anyway.
Creepy Joe.
Creepy Joe.
Should be creepy.
But I don't like him at all. Like, I think he's one of them just politicians.
Right.
He stumbles on his words.
But if they have something, like even the stuff they were saying about him, like with the kid, like, okay, it's weird, but I'm not going to read too much into it. He just might be weird I'm not going to just go and just say, that dude right there is horrible.
Right.
You know what I mean?
How dare you have a pedophile
right.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe he just likes sniffing people, man.
Yeah. I think
a sniffy guy.
But there's no evidence like that he's really a pedophile, so you can't really say that.
I think we're looking at this wrong. I actually think I like that this stuff is happening.
Me too.
Because here's the thing. This kind of stuff exposes these people for who they are.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I
love it.
Because they're being exposed now.
Right.
I mean, I think,
I'm not confused. I think people are like, oh, does it come to? No. These people are padding their careers. They want to be bestseller authors. Mm-hmm. They want to be able to go on a show. They wish if they didn't have to explain that. They wish if they were on The View talking about their writing ability. And that's what they want. Right. It just backfired on them. And I think that these kind of things need to happen more often.
Not just them.
No, not in general, but I'm just saying I like that this kind of stuff is happening. I think it's great.
Yeah, but I'm saying like politicians, CNN, like it's happening a lot more.
Yeah, I think people need to just be aware of what they're dealing with when they're getting news from these people.
Right. Including what we just talked about, the Jussie Smollett thing, this guy pulling out, whatever that is. We're living in a time where it's all about what? The views, the clickbait, reactionary stuff, right?
Well, because they make money off of that.
We were just talking about the, being pulled into things. Like, we were talking about black people, the black community and how we've gotten pulled into certain things over the years. Like, this is another example of how you get put in a situation and you feel like you need something. You have a desire that needs to be fulfilled.
Well, we talked about this months ago on one of the first podcasts, that like the idea of Trump derangement syndrome, like the idea of people screaming in the streets after the election, like people, like I remember someone on Twitter, I was on Twitter and someone was posting like the craziest Kavanaugh reactions after he got inducted into the Supreme Court, and people, like, you remember how they were up there banging on the door and like acting crazy, screaming in the building, like, we will not be ignored, like all this crazy stuff that people do, and it all stems back from the idea of like they were built up to have this result that they needed,
just like with
the election, right? So when it didn't go their way, it turns into devastation, but they keep giving them like this light that's gonna this light at the end of the tunnel, like, but we're gonna get him impeached, but we're gonna, you know what I mean?
Like the show Heroes, like it just build up and then
you build it up.
Horrible.
It was just no payoff. So it's like every time they can feed the audience, the American people, an idea of something that's gonna now.
I'm like, did he just reference Heroes? I haven't thought about that in a long time.
So it was first Russia, the whole Russia thing. We're gonna get him. We're gonna get him. We're gonna get him. That's a letdown. Then it was Stormy. It's Stormy Daniels. It's all these things. It's Brett Kavanaugh. It's like it's all of these things that the news is just feeding the concept of like, this is going to be the thing. This is going to be the thing that gives you.
They don't want to get him. They don't want to get him.
No, they don't.
They want to get you.
Yeah, they want to get you, and they're feeding that desire in you to want to get him.
Like we said, people are starting to get a little more hip to it. Like as you sit there and you like listen to what they're saying, and they're talking in circles, and they sound like the Charlie Brown teacher when they're being asked questions. Like I triple read my emails before I send them out.
Right.
There's no way that the short excerpt that was supposed to represent your whole project that went out, you're like, well, we thought we read it. Like that makes no sense. And people are going to be able to be like,
they're being called out.
You don't sound like you know what you're talking about. And either I can say, right, you're stupid. Didn't Bill Burr say this? You're totally stupid. You're dishonest, and you are totally lying.
Right.
So these are the two options.
Those are the two options.
And the result is I'm not going to trust you. I'm not going to listen to you. I'm not going to put all of my stock into what you're saying. It doesn't matter how many degrees you have, because either you're real stupid or you're intentionally misleading me, and that's where we're at.
And I think it's intentional.
And most times, 98%
because
of the time,
all of these people are highly intelligent,
and there's this. You get this overwhelming feeling of like, we're so virtuous. We left. It was an oversight.
Right.
We left it out. It's never our intention to mislead you. Like the media's whole intention right now is to mislead everyone. Like, stop it. Stop acting like you're not in control of people's emotional reactions, how they process stuff, and what they go to work the next day to talk to their friends about. Like, take a little responsibility.
Behind it, like you were saying, they do it with TV, they do it with the news. There's a science behind what's going to get us.
Y'all have formulas,
right?
And they're just trying to hook you.
Engagement.
What are they trying to do right now?
And get engagement.
Hook you until the 2020 election.
Right.
That's all. Just the next thing, the next thing.
Right.
But people are like, wait a minute.
And listen, you will. This reminds me of this movie that we once watched, The Village, where the parents created this boogeyman.
Underrated movie, by the way.
Underrated, bruh.
They created this boogeyman to scare their kids from going into the woods or leaving what they thought was a utopia.
Right.
And they created this whole concept to control their kids.
Right.
And then after they get a certain age, I guess they would carry on, and you know what I mean.
But what was the main tactic for controlling them? Fear. The fear of this thing that could get you if you leave outside the boundaries. You know what I mean? And that's what they do now. It's fear. It's a fear of, and
racism,
it happens
hate,
it happens on all sides.
That, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you have to create a boogeyman. You know what I mean?
I have so much anxiety. The world we live in today it's just so hard dealing with you hear it all the time. Like anytime,
and it's no different.
I barely turn on the TV, but when I turn it on, it's like the world we live in today. It's just
fine. And imagine if you shut it off, you would have no idea what's going on. Your world would be fine.
You would be fine. You would be totally. You would be actually better. You know, it's crazy. And I think like the thing with this situation, the reason why it backfired so much is because people caught on to what they were doing. It's usually like the thing we were talking about with the Robin Roberts thing, where they go back later and they correct it. They'll say anything. Called out. They'll say anything to get the clicks and get you to click on it with the crazy headlines, because even if they're dead wrong, they can go back and change it later. And that's what they tried to do with this once they got called out. But too many people were saying something like, because you can't just keep doing that.
Right.
So now they had to go on The View. They had to go on all these places trying to fix it, because the New York Times is looking really bad.
Right. We got to go on a cleanup tour.
Yeah. And the New York Times is supposed to be the paper of record. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm surprised that whole conversation took place on The View.
I know.
And that it went like, even Whoopi was like, well, somebody missed it. Like,
I was shocked.
I was like, oh, snap.
That they were pushing back against them like that.
I'm surprised they even had them on to discuss that whole topic in the first place.
I know.
So
maybe they were talking about it the day before.
Well, The View went hard on him first.
Yeah.
So now they
feel stupid.
That's probably what it is.
Okay,
So now they have to correct
because they're lawyers. Because the lawyers are like, look, you got to seem like this so we don't get sued, because I'm sure some things will happen back.
I don't think they have a problem, because they look like idiots, and now they don't want to look like idiots. So they're going to place the blame. That's what they do every time.
And from a legal standpoint, the View has to absolve itself from kind of almost corroborating it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Where it's like a cease and desist.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you made our client look like this. So you better get on there and make it look like... And then here's your talking point. You say this, you say that. I believe that stuff happens.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right. The whole team of producers was like, you know what? We have to make sure everyone knows our stance on this.
Yeah, so you say that. So Whoopi, you're going to say, you didn't read it?
Joy, you shut the hell up. Don't say anything.
Right. You noticed, though, like when you're watching
Joy there?
No, she wasn't on there.
Okay. She was there? Was she there? Yeah. See, she didn't say a damn thing.
Right.
It was like,
Joy said like one thing.
Joy, shut your mouth. Because, that show is like, even Meghan McCain, like, I can't watch that show.
She's annoying.
But that's the whole point. They have to go back and backpedal, you know.
Joy's on there?
Joy's on there.
She's
quiet
as a mouse.
He's so quiet.
Sitting right next to him.
I want to be a rapist so bad. He's not a rapist.
She's like, are you guys sure he didn't rape anyone? Did he rape one of you?
But that's the thing. I think what we're seeing is, look, we think that these people are giving us their honest opinion. What we don't realize is that this is their career. They have to play these roles. They have to be like that. It's like this. I remember watching this movie, Hollywood Shuffle. And in Hollywood Shuffle, I don't know if you guys ever saw that with Robert Townsend. He was trying to expose Hollywood, right? Yeah. And in Hollywood Shuffle, there was this character that he liked called Batty. He played a typical eccentric character. But in real life, he was like a pimp. He was like, in the TV show, he was like this kind of like silly guy, fun. But in real life, he was like Pee Wee Herman, jerking off in that theater.
Right.
All right?
Yeah.
So he was trying to expose it like, look, this guy plays a certain character in TV. You bought into that.
Right.
So you think he's like that. But in real life, he's an asshole. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with like Pee Wee Herman. Hey, kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not Pee-wee. Yeah. Why did we fall for that? Because we want to believe.
I gotta say though, like when I heard about Pee-wee, I was like, I get it.
Yeah. Creepy.
But
no grown man acts like that.
But I'm just saying, how many people would fall for that?
Yeah, you're right.
You know
but Pee-wee's not a good example. But you're right.
Yeah, no, Pee-wee's not a good example because you're a sense of. But think about all the people.
He was always a weirdo to me. Like just watching that show. Like,
right.
Oh, it was just a weird.
But what I'm saying is people buy into the idea.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? So
the character that's set before them.
Right.
Yeah.
Even Trump to a certain extent, he plays that character. You're fired. Get out of here.
Even what he does now, like people don't understand. Like, yo, he's playing a character,
right? And
you fall for it.
He has nothing in common with you in the Midwest. This guy's been living all his life in a golden palace in New York. He's not going to relate to you.
But even him as the guy that does what he does and says what he says, and the way he trolls, like all of that stuff is the Trump persona.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And what I'm saying is, I admit that that's a persona, but Obama had a persona too.
Of course.
I want to spend my life with you.
Just me and Michelle. You know, we love each other so much. Yeah,
they're all doing that.
They're all doing it.
You know, they're all doing it. They're all playing this role, and we're like, see that? He got sold.
Yep.
You know?
Me and Mitch.
And it's the same thing with the redneck out there. Trump's going to make America. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Trump's going to get rid of all the Mexicans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
No.
His golf course got to be cleaned up.
Bill Clinton was up there playing saxophone.
Yeah. We created the environment for that. And Hillary thought she could do it. Check this out. You got like the robot? No? Boogaloo shrimp? Anything? No? Nothing? Hot sauce?
I'll get Jay-Z and Beyonce up here. That'll get all the blacks.
And
didn't work.
But does it work? Did it work? Yes, it did at one time. Maybe it didn't work this time.
Yeah.
Because she was square. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I think that we live in a time where the story matters. Like Juicy Smollett, he concocted this thing, and people, he just figured this time is right for this performance. You know what I mean?
Everyone's gonna believe this. Like, dude, that's why we talk about the Dave Chappelle thing where he was like, you know, all black people knew he was lying.
No, you didn't.
I think some knew, but they still wanted to believe.
Well, yeah, because they're panda. You know,
he said that. He said that in the special.
Yeah, in the special.
You haven't watched the special yet?
He still hasn't watched
some of it, and then I got.
You didn't watch the Juicy Smollett? Juicy Smollett.
Juicy Smollett.
He said there's this French actor. Juicy Smollett.
But it's important because part of the problem is this: people are mindless. People want to share things.
Yeah,
and that's what we're living in a time where that's what it is. There's clickbait news, and then there's people who just want to share things. They want to be able to put you onto new things,
and they want to be woke.
Yeah,
you know.
Jamie just talked about that with the Amazon fires, the rainforest fires.
Oh yeah. The Amazon rainforest fires. People want to be woke and sharing stuff, and totally just. We were talking about that.
Yeah.
Were you here when we talked?
I was here.
Okay, yeah. The fake stuff that people post.
Fires that happened in 2008.
Yeah. Or in Michigan, in California.
And believe me, man, it is hard if you're so connected to social media. It is hard because you're reacting. Thumbs up, thumbs down. You're looking, you're clicking, you're moving. We live in a fast-paced world now. So whatever comes across, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Or you're just reacting to it. You know what I mean? I find myself doing it sometimes where I'm like, whoa. You know what I mean? I got work to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. There was something we came across the other day. But then we had to go look it up, and it was BS. I forget what it was. Me and you were talking about it. Something I saw.
I don't know. I don't remember.
But yeah, that stuff, it definitely, especially on Facebook, there's a lot of like fake news.
That's what this is my thing. Like, stop looking at a post and just saying, "Ooh, I'm gonna share that."
Yeah.
Like, do a simple research. Kind of research. Just do one level of research.
It's
please.
so easy.
Right. One level of research.
Well, YouTube has created that because what people are looking for is a thumbs up or the thumbs down.
Right.
I mean, not the thumbs down. The reactions. The likes. You know what I mean? And it is true. You're posting because you want people to react to what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think if they got rid of that, nobody would post anymore.
Well, that's what they're talking about.
Trying to get
they're talking about getting rid of that.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll be no post.
Facebook. Well, Facebook is talking about getting rid of likes.
Yeah.
Twitter's talking about getting rid of like follower number counts and like likes and all of that.
Make people feel more inclusive.
Yeah.
These things have become the high school equivalent of my new shoes, my new car. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's what it was about. You know,
how cool are you? How many people follow you?
Yeah,
this is how cool you are.
Right.
Yeah. You know, do you have a blue check mark?
The check mark.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It was the investigator on the it's the dude that died. pedophile guy.
Oh, Epstein.
Epstein.
Yeah. There was some fake story about the investigator or the prosecutor or something.
Investigator.
No, it was one of the lawyers, I think.
I think it was an investigator. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. What was the fake story?
That he got killed.
Oh yeah, that he ended up dead.
Yeah.
Who?
One of Epstein's lawyers, but it was fake. Like people were just sharing this thing. Like,
so I saw it and I showed Jamie and I'm like, oh, let me go see.
Yeah.
And in 2 seconds, it's obviously fake.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
But it's like you have to do that. You can't just
don't react to it.
You can't just react to things. You got to look at it and find out, well, where are they getting this from?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I do that with everything. Where are they getting this from?
Yeah.
You have become your own editing room.
You have to.
You just edit your stuff.
You have to, man.
People don't post stuff though. It's like people don't post stuff because they've read it. People post stuff because they want that extension of like, do you agree with this? Mm-hmm. Are you shocked by this? Are you amused by this? All that little like emoji, line on Facebook.
Right.
And it's like an extension of the news. Like the news is but like the news is making money, which is always what gets me. Like at least the news is getting paid off of this.
Right.
You're just posting for likes.
You're getting them money. You're making them money.
For free.
Right.
Like all day.
Popeye's
and trying
chicken.
to get some folks who agree with you. But it's just the endorphin rush, like seeing your friends like comment and be like, this is so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not even real.
I love like when people, and I never comment on their stuff. I never post like, this is a fake story, because I don't like getting into it with people on Facebook at all. Like there's so many people that post stuff. I was making fun of Moan because he got into it on Facebook recently, but I
was like, this ain't real.
Yeah, no. He got into a debate.
I couldn't help myself.
He got into a debate.
Okay.
But like there's so many times I want to post stuff, but I just don't, because it's not worth it.
No, I don't do it either.
But
it's a waste of time.
But I love reading the comments to see if anyone calls them out. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you'll see like someone say, "Oh, this is a fake story, dude. Like, why did you post this?" And then they'll be like, "Oh, I didn't even read it. I just saw the headline."
Or what's the emotional reaction?
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? It's like they do it all the time. I didn't read it. I just saw the headline.
Right. Well, people are
you?
reposting based on their, like, okay, you open your phone, you see something, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And you're not even reading it.
Right. You just see a picture that's perfectly placed there with a headline.
Right. And you respond to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. Are we going to keep going?
We can end it.
11:05. No, I was just wondering if we were going to talk about Malik Yoba.
Malik Yoba?
Yeah.
Oh, we can? You want to talk about it?
I mean,
yeah, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
What's your take on it?
My take?
Yeah, let me cut you off. I'm kidding. The nights have cut off.
I wanted to hear y'all take. To me, it's like just a bunch of BS.
Right.
You gonna pull something up?
I'm not familiar, so why don't somebody explain the story for the people who don't understand?
Okay.
You know who Malik Yoba is?
Nope.
She would not know who Malik Yoba is. That is way before your time. So when we were teenagers, there was this big show. It was like
for the urban.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't big, but it was.
Yeah. No, it was big.
It was big.
Fox. It was on Fox.
It was on Fox.
It got canceled.
It was big for a few seasons.
Yeah.
They had a few seasons.
It's called New York Undercover.
Tim Wolf.
Dick Wolf. New York Undercover.
Dick Wolf production.
Yeah, Dick Wolf. It was, I would call it like almost like a urban Law and Order of its time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
that's a good description.
And Malik Yoba was one of the main characters in the show.
Right, and the Latino guy. But nobody remember.
I don't remember his name. I just remember his name was Torres on the show.
Right. Yeah.
And but so that's where his.
And he was like a really like masculine.
He was a masculine. He was a heartthrob.
I looked up the actor. I recognize him.
Yeah.
Okay.
He used to always have one of those toothpicks in his mouth.
Yeah. He was a very like tough guy type persona in the show. And I mean, after that show ended, he kind of went on to like do like the typical black movies and Tyler Perry stuff. And
yes,
he was a TV actor.
Did he do any TV stuff after that? I don't
he did
think
Cool
so.
Runnings.
Yeah, that was a movie.
Oh.
He probably did.
That was terrible. That movie was.
So he only did like what? A couple of movies. Cool Running was a commercial
Empire.
success though.
He was on Empire.
Mm-hmm.
What?
He died.
He probably did a couple. I've never seen Empire. So he knows Juicy.
Yeah, he was friends with
Him
Juicy.
and Juicy hanging out. See? That's why.
Juicy Smoothie.
So recently he came out. Was it on Twitter?
No, it was on an interview.
Twitter. Yeah, he came out on an interview.
Well, actually, he did put something up.
He didn't come out, but he didn't say. He kind of like said he loves all women, right?
No, he did. Say
No, he said that he's attracted to transgenders.
Women.
Transgender women.
Right. But he said he's not gay.
But he said he's not gay.
He's not gay.
He said, I love women.
Right. Including all women. Trans.
As long as they have a penis.
And then he went on Breakfast Club with a gay man.
Yeah.
And two transsexuals.
Yeah, trying to like educate people on the idea.
His claim was that a young rapper had killed himself because he was in a relationship with a transgender, and that was a very tragic. That's what he said. That's what caused that.
Yeah. So
all the young rappers are in relationships with transgenders.
So he wanted to, and then people did further investigation and found out that guy was abusing that girl.
Right.
And there was other things because they tried to. The news
also
spun
par
it
for the course.
Yeah. The news spun it as he killed himself because he was being made fun of.
Because hip hop is not accepting of the transgender thing, and like then they reference who's the young dude, Lil Nas X, who just came out as homosexual.
So Malik used that.
Yeah.
Right. But the other part of the story was apparently a young transsexual.
This is the real thing.
This is the real story.
This is the real part of the story.
So apparently, in the 90s, while he was on New York Undercover, he was involved in child prostitution.
Mm-hmm.
He would peruse the meatpacking district for a transsexual.
Right.
He had an ongoing affair with a transsexual. It never got brought up. But when he started making all of these claims as being fighting for women's rights and being an activist, one transsexual said, hey, before you guys jump on the Malik Yoba bandwagon, this is what happened. When I was 13, I was a sex worker. He would repeatedly come to me, and he was interested in transsexual. He was interested in unprotected sex.
Right.
And then, apparently, to get ahead of that,
he was getting ahead of the story.
He came out and said, I love all women, including trans. And I don't feel like
this was a woman or a trans woman?
A trans woman.
Trans woman.
Who is now older, but she was a teen at the time.
13 at the time.
She was a 13-year-old trans woman at the time?
Right.
Yes. Okay.
Sex worker.
Okay.
Probably.
And he's denying all this.
Probably probably worked for Epstein.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? One of those.
Yep. So he was so people are saying he was trying to get ahead of that by saying,
no, that's exactly what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he just all of a sudden came out with
at a time when it's conveniently okay for him to do that. He was hiding it for years.
Right.
Right. And then his ex-wife, blasted him on Twitter or Instagram saying, hey, why would you do something like this and expose I've held your secret extra. So there's a lot of little things that's happening.
Like you have kids and all that.
But he tried to make it look at it. This is a brave moment as a hetero man.
Yeah. Because he didn't tell any of his kids.
Yeah.
He didn't if you know you're going to come out with something, you're going to get your kids prepared.
Right.
He didn't tell anybody, any family.
This is what I'm dealing with. Yeah.
Talk to.
I'm gonna go public with this, but I want you to know. No, he did it publicly to get ahead of this story because this person was starting to call him out online.
Right.
And
then he went and solidified it with a Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Trying to act like they're trying to be pro or proactive. Or
they didn't ask him no in-depth questions.
No,
of course not. Of course not. No. Very, very because you can't.
They were scared.
You can't. It's what Dave Chappelle talked about. There's one community that you don't challenge. You know what I mean? And you see what happened to him.
And I watched the entire interview. And let me tell you something right now. The interview was all about men expressing themselves as female because it had nothing to do with females expressing themselves as males.
Right.
They didn't mention that at all.
They rarely do. You rarely hear the conversation that direction.
Right. And to me, one of the things that told on it was one of the transgender, the Puerto Rican one said, I would like to go to a bar and not worry that something was going to happen to me. Well, I don't think something's happening. I think what she's trying to say, or what she really wants to say is, I would like to go to a bar, pick up a guy,
right,
and take the guy home get ready to have sex, and when I take off my clothes, him not react to my penis. Right? That's what you're trying to say. That's what this was about.
Right.
Okay, it had nothing to do with expression of anything. It's that you want to be able to do this thing and not react, because they were bringing up these cases of transgenders being killed, but they're not mentioning that these guys
that they don't reveal up front
who they are.
Yeah, it is a mainstream like conversation right now that shouldn't have to happen.
Right.
Like, you shouldn't have to identify yourself as a trans woman.
Right.
You're just a woman, and that should be accepted. But I think there's also an equally maybe not mainstream as in like the media and the Breakfast Club interviews, but in the YouTube world and the podcasting world, there's an equally like trans people themselves. They're like, don't do that. That is not honest, and it could get you killed, and it's not a good idea in the first place.
Taking a risk.
Why would you want to start a relationship with someone in the first place on false pretenses, let alone a sexual relationship, let alone with a stranger, all wrapped up in one? Like, don't do that.
And it's not a simple, because they try to talk to men in the sense where it's like, if you are if a woman having a penis turns you off, then there's something wrong with you.
Right.
Yeah, no.
And it's like that you can't. That's not true.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
and that's what they're saying. They're saying, hey, you should accept when you see the penis, you shouldn't respond. You shouldn't react like it's,
That's the Jessica Yaniv situation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very, you can't call him crazy, but then take some of the same like philosophies and be like, oh, okay, well, just because I'm not like being predatory, it's fine to be dishonest.
Right.
I think the distinctions like are important, just like there's all of the distinctions, right? Like, there's all of these classifications. No, you can't say that a trans woman is a woman like I'm a woman.
Right.
Like, tomorrow,
and
if
that a
I
man
decided,
should accept that. A man who's a heterosexual man who's only attracted to a
is
woman,
wrong
a
for
biological
not
woman.
Right.
You should,
okay with it.
Like, that.
Like, be what you are, and that's fine to be a trans woman. Nobody should abuse you or hurt you because of that, but you should be honest about who you are, especially when you're going to be
and you can't guarantee
kissing people that night and things of this nature. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
And you can't guarantee that their reaction is going to be a civil one. It's like this, right? For people who don't understand this concept, if you've ever gone on a blind date and someone sends you a photo and they show up and that photo doesn't match up, you're going to be angry. You're not going to be like, oh, well, so you were, in that picture you were 160, but here you're 280.
Right. We're talking about next level stuff from that.
Right. Or you said you're 6 foot, but you're really 5'2".
Right.
All right, I guess, it's all relative. No. People react to that very harshly.
To those shallow things.
Yes.
Let alone,
how many women be like, you took a picture with the Ferrari, but you pulled up in a Pinto.
It's all same thing. Same thing, 4 wheels. I get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Don't judge me.
No, that's what we're trying to say is they're trying to disguise this thing as sort of, we're here to help the community. No, you're not.
Yeah.
You what you're doing is you're trying to trick people.
Not help. We're trying to educate the community. And that's what makes it worse, because it's like, what do I need to be educated on?
Right. And that's the thing concept. It's that the only reason why you react that way is because you don't understand.
Right.
You're uninformed.
Right.
And this is an actual woman.
Right.
You need to be educated on that.
Yeah. And let's be clear. If you are a male and you have a penis and you see another man's penis and you get excited, you're a homosexual. That's it. Don't try to redefine that and give us ideas and ideologies. If you're responding to the same sex, you're homosexual. That's it.
I mean, it's not even about seeing the penis. Like, dude, Monique Gilbert, hormones weren't that prevalent back in the 90s.
Right.
Like, when you see most of these trans, but they were men.
Be brave.
Like, he's attracted to a man girl.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
what I'm saying is he's trying to say he's brave. No, be brave and say you're gay.
At least Jim Norton admits it.
It's 2019.
But
say you're gay. It's all right, man.
Yeah,
no right.
What I mean? But I'm just trying to say, like, it's not even about you see a penis and you're attracted. No, they're just attracted to men, and then the penis comes along with it.
Right.
But then they act like that's a man in that in that wig. You know what I mean?
In no way, shape, or form, you're confusing a female body part with a male body part.
Right.
You know what you're getting into.
Right.
And that's my thing is, don't try to make it seem as though you're helping the victimized community. What you're doing is you want to keep your image as this straight hetero male, and you want to be able to do what you want to do, and you're about to be uncovered, and you want to keep that life, that part of your life, a little secret.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you got to do it as I'm trying to help.
I mean, he literally wants to have his cake and eat it too. Mm-hmm. He literally wants to not be, he doesn't want to have to look at anything that he does as wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, anything, even the lying, the manipulating, anything. He doesn't want to look at it as wrong. So if he can twist it and manipulate it to say, like, we need to see these are the problems that are in our community, and we have to change these things. He shifts it from on him and to on everybody else.
Well, it's kind of like what the dude from House of Cards,
Kevin Spacey.
It's like what he did. You know what I mean? Yeah. When those accusations came out, he squashed it all by saying, "Guys, I'm gay." Yeah. You know what I mean? And then it was like, oh, now he can't say anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like no, but it's taking the approach of like, this is about the reason why I dealt with this is because of the fact that the society doesn't accept me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I had to do this. I had to lie and manipulate and be. You know what I mean? Like that's
what they were talking about.
But with that said, the public has reacted and the public has spoken.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody bought it.
Right.
Because that's what it is. We're living in a time where people want to attach themselves to some sort of do-gooder. We're social justice warriors. We're just trying to help. But people are not buying
signaling,
it.
Man.
Exactly. So when you go, if you guys want to go look at the interview and look at the thumbs up and the thumbs down. And then if you really want to get a gist of what's going on, read the comments.
I always do, man.
Because that's what's going to tell you what's happening.
Right.
Don't read the headline.
Right.
Because how it was advertised is this is a moment of education.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But when you read the comments and you look at the people's reaction, you'll see for yourself.
This is on The Breakfast Club.
Yes.
And they're talking about the education of trans women or women, period, and everybody needs to like get their game up and get like with the times.
Especially that was like in the hip hop community and like the marginalization of homosexuality, transgenderism. Even
and Charlemagne and Envy and everybody was like, yes, this is the like there was no
pushback.
No pushback on that.
Teeny bit. Like
did they? I don't remember.
Just from Charlemagne, just a teeny bit.
Did Charlemagne ask him about?
I'm very surprised.
The only pushback he had was like, well, do we really think the kids should be being taught this stuff? Like that was the only as far as he went.
Right.
Other than that,
he was surprisingly quiet.
Yeah. Other than that, he was just like, okay.
They asked questions, but it was set up questions. You could tell that was very contrived and controlled.
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't about, hey, listen, don't you think it's wrong to go to a bar and a man is a heterosexual man and trick a guy. You know what I mean? That's what you're doing.
You shouldn't be afraid to do that because.
And why are you going to a predominantly heterosexual bar if you know that? You know what I mean?
Right.
That could happen. If you're afraid of your life and men are going to kill you because when they find out that you have a penis, why would you go there and put yourself in that risk? That's like me going to drink a beer at the KKK. You know what I mean? Well, I know they're racist around here, but I really love beer.
But you just walk in with white face on, white makeup, like Dave Chappelle. You're like,
I'll blend in.
I'm gonna trick them all into believing I'm one of them.
Yeah,
I belong. And then when they find out and want to kill you, you're
all
like,
right, guys,
how could
we're
you
getting ready to go
this?
skinny dipping. James, take off your robe. Oops, I only painted my hands and my face.
Speaking of that,
what?
There's actually a guy who's been doing this for a while. Like, he's converted like over 200 and something KKK members. Like, well, actually
converted them.
Not converted them, but like got them out of the KKK.
DKKK'd them.
I don't know. Deracist. Yeah.
What the heck? You calling out?
I can't do nothing about the Amber Alert. But
Is that my phone?
My phone don't give me no Amber Alerts.
I have my phone on.
Jimmy disabled that. I don't
So,
care about these kids.
but here's
Get your own kids.
Here's the thing, the gist of it all. So somebody did an article on him about how he's basically destroying black people by trying to go in and talk to these KKK members.
He's destroying black people?
He's destroying the black community by doing that. Like somebody wrote a piece on this.
Why?
I don't know. Like, I didn't.
Did you read it?
I didn't read it because it was such bullshit.
I saw it.
I just saw
a black dude he's been accepted by the Klan, and many of them.
He's been accepted.
Yeah, he can hang around him, and the thing is,
Clayton Bigsby.
Like he can have a beer. I don't understand.
Yeah. No, okay, so he's this black guy who's fascinated with the Klan. He's been allowed to come to their shows and document. He's even been allowed to come to their cross-burning and their functions. And through time, he has befriended them. And many of them have turned from complete hate to now giving up the lifestyle of hate because of him.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And when they have decided to stop their hateful ways, they surrender their robes to him. So he's collecting these robes as sort of like his dear head of trophies.
So he's the real black Klansman.
He's the real Clayton Bigsby.
He's Clayton.
No. So so many of them have walked away because by being friends with them, he has thus disproven this idea that all blacks are evil. So he's like, sort of like, they're like, well, I used to hate all blacks, but I really love you. So I guess I'm not really as hateful as I thought. Right. So I'm going to give up this lifestyle.
I have to see what this dude looks like. Yeah. Can you see if you can find him?
Rachel, go on this Wonder Tour.
Do y'all know his name?
I don't remember his name, but I did watch it.
I watched
Rachel's like, this is the first time I'm Googling KKK.
But Rachel, did you ever think on a Tuesday night you'd be typing?
On Moon's iPad, so I'm all good.
Yeah. So this is the first time on a Tuesday night you're typing in black Klansman.
You know what's funny? On that? When I typed in KKK, and I was thinking about that too, like, you know, like how many people type it in and what's their actual purpose of doing it?
Right.
You don't know.
Next thing you know, you're getting emails like looking for recruits. Right. There's a chapter in South Jersey.
So not a lot, but some people were angry at him because they were like, you should not put this much effort and time into converting them. That was the argument.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So, but how is it destroying the black community?
I don't know.
I remember that part.
I didn't read it.
I don't remember that part.
I just saw the headline and I'm like,
there you go, headlines.
But I think
actually somebody did a video on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Maybe I didn't watch that one then. But what I watched was they interviewed a couple of black people, and some said yes, what he's doing is great because he is changing their lives, and some said, man, you should leave them black. But you know they do that.
Right.
They'll go to
they want to kill you. They're evil.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go. That's a riveting picture.
Oh, wow. So they just kind of like accept this dude. What's his name?
Daryl Davis.
Daryl Davis. Yeah, that's him.
How one man convinced 200 KKK members to give something.
Hey, Robin Roberts, we have Daryl Davis. Listen to this story, Robin. Robin, so this black guy converted 200 Klansmen to change their ways and actually give up hatred. We got that, or we got Juicy Smell It On. Which one do you want? Bring on Juicy.
Give me Juicy. We want to talk about hate.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting. But that
just made me think of it when you said have a beer with.
Yeah. Because listen, those things are. What people don't realize is that there are certain things that will never make the news because it doesn't fit the narrative that they want to spin.
Right.
Okay. They don't want to spin just like they don't want to spin a narrative like people want to get out of the hood and the ghetto. They don't want to spin a narrative that these people are redeemable. These quote unquote racist people are redeemable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'll hear it happen too. Sometimes I'm talking and they were like, James, you're not really black. You're from Trinidad. And the reason someone is saying that to me, and I figured it out, is because they like
You're half Indian.
Apparently he's having very logical conversation with these Klansmen. Like, all right,
it's kind of like what you were talking about earlier.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, why do you think I'm inferior? And they're like, because, that's the case. And you guys are criminals and whatever.
Stink.
He's like, I'm black. I've never done a carjacking, this, that, the third. And they're like, oh. And then he's like, they're like, your gene hasn't come out yet. You have a latent gene.
Right.
This is what he told to NPR. And then he's like, hey, can you name me some black serial killers? And all the KKK guys are like silent. And then he names all the white serial killers. Yeah. And he's like, you guys are serial killers. And they're like, we haven't killed anybody. And he's like, your gene hasn't come out yet.
Yeah.
So, and then after like simple conversations like this, they're like,
okay.
Interesting.
I give up this hate.
Okay.
You made some great points.
You made some irrefutable points there.
Hey, listen, you want my roll? We'll go fishing. But that's the whole point.
That led me down the road of like, I found this documentary on the KKK.
Okay.
Right, and how they've kind of changed or shift their views a little bit. So they're not exactly racist.
Kind of like Mormons. They let blacks in now.
No, I think they're gonna be racist, Jake.
No. That's not.
Or Jehovah's Witness.
No.
Yeah.
Heaven on earth.
Not. They were saying they're not racist in the sense where they just believe in nationalism and that.
So that's why people connect nationalism to, the KKK and white supremacy then.
Right. Because it kind of, I mean, don't get me wrong, they still think that white people should have ownership of this.
Yeah, right.
But they don't believe that they're kind of superior anymore. You know what I mean?
You ever watch football?
Yeah.
It's more like...
They watch a lot of black porn.
They believe more like...
It is true.
We're inferior, damn it.
Who is Lexington Steele? Why is his name Steele?
In this thing, they were talking about more immigrants than black people.
Yeah.
Like, the main thing was immigrants.
Right.
The stuff that I've seen. I mean, of course, there's different...
right. Well, there's different,
I don't know what you call them, but I know there's different.
Boy, that must have been a lonely night at the Evans household. Jake is typing away. This path.
Yeah.
It's 2 a.m. He's like, Leslie Cowell, Jake, what are you doing? Have you seen this? Just collecting robes.
They were like showing how they did the robe. Oh my gosh, it's so.
How they do the what?
The robes.
Oh.
Even like the names, like how they got all these weird like
Grand Wizards and
yes. Yeah, dude. I want to talk to do you ever ask why y'all got all these weird ass names? But y'all say it because they say they believe in God, but
yeah. But that's what the point I'm trying to make earlier is. I think when you shut out people because they don't agree with you, you never get to really find out why things are, and you never realize that some people you can pull out of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Some people you can pull out of that. You can say, "Hey, you're wrong about that."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And actually, during those conversations, a lot of times people are, "Well, you're right. I was wrong about that."
Right.
A lot of times people are very easily redeemable if you give that opportunity and you open that space. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
So that's what that was about. But I did watch that. Like I'm very curious about these kind of conversations. Like why? Because I've been to the South many times. I don't see what they're talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't see. I'm sure it happens, but I've been to the South. I'm sure you guys traveled more than me.
We've been to the South.
I
all over
don't
the place.
see this. I'm not saying it doesn't happen.
We've been in the woods, Mississippi, Alabama,
right. And I'm saying to myself, look, whatever they're trying to spin via the news, it's not happening.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to follow that because what I see and what they're trying to tell me are two different things. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that I'm going to be like, is that a cross burning up there? Let me go up there and find out what the hell is. Hey, guys.
Yeah.
Jamie, it turns out these people aren't ready to give up yet. No robes for us.
Right. But I try to ask people that a lot that get caught up in the idea of, it's because the news will have you believe that they're lynching people everywhere.
Right.
And cops are racist. Like the meme that you were responding to, talking about cops killing people and all that stuff, and cops killing blacks, and it's like when you ask them, when was the last time you encountered that in your life or someone you know?
Right.
You know,
of course.
It's like.
Yeah.
They never have an answer unless they just want to lie and say, "Oh, all the time." It's like,
right. But it's the same thing as the white guy who says, you're talking about racism.
Yeah.
I was robbed by a black guy.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like you hear that. Like, you know what I mean? I was beat up by a black guy in 5th grade.
Yeah.
Like you hear that too. You know what I mean? I think those kind of things, because people want to quantify their arguments. What?
Because blacks used to chase Moan around Philly all the time.
And then Moan started chasing around black women. He's like, I'll teach y'all. This is how I get my revenge.
Sure did.
I'll steal all your girlfriends.
I'll do it through the women. But the point is, everyone has this thing. But think about it, right? Like, for instance, this just hit me right now. Your dad.
Mm-hmm.
Your dad gave you guys perspective to question things.
Right.
But your dad was stuck on the Democrats.
Yes.
And when this guy brought it up,
yeah,
you were he was the converter.
Yeah.
Like your dad right now, you guys would be warring with him.
Maybe, but I think,
I don't know.
My dad was always, in a sense, like a little more willing to be outside of the box of everybody else.
You know, but maybe you wouldn't have been warned right now, but the process.
There would have been a process.
There would have been a couple.
We would have had to keep sending him videos
under
and
siege.
You know what I mean? A lot of.
Jake would be dropping off stuff at the house like.
No, but I remember like right before he died, and because he died 2012, and I remember. That was the election year, right? And I remember you like specifically saying like, I'm not voting for Obama, and he was pissed. Remember that conversation?
Yeah, I didn't vote for Obama in 2008.
I know, but I don't think you told him.
I did tell him.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He said it in passing.
We went through it both times.
Yeah.
He ran out of that house. But then 2000 he came back. I ain't vote for Obama, Dad. A little extra bass. But what I'm saying is, that's what I mean. Your dad gave you guys this thing. Jamie, Jake, you question everything. You don't trust nobody. You don't do that. Oh, by the way, don't question me on the voting thing. So he gave you guys this tool. But he's like, don't use it on me. You know what I mean? That's what people do. That's the same thing with my dad. You know, but my dad didn't tell me to question him. He's like, damn it, I didn't tell you. But that's the point, is that we all have this thing within us, and then when we see it happening, we're like, what the hell? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, where if your dad was alive today and he could see you guys, you know what I mean? You guys would have been able to prove to him, but it would have taken him a long time. How old was he when he passed away? 50?
Jake?
No,
my dad?
Your dad.
56.
Yeah. That's a long time of holding on to that. And you guys essentially converted. Like, you guys went from 2008, you and I talking about Obama, to like 2012, and we all happened to arrive because we never talk like this. Correct? And all of a sudden, we started to find ourselves on this road where Jamie and I were conspiracied out. You know?
We would have these long conversations about conspiracy.
Right? My sister is sitting there like, go away. But then, I'm saying we happened to arrive. So it would be very hard for these people, someone like your dad, who loved you guys, gave you guys all this, but he was stuck in that ideology. You know what I mean? You would have to like really work on him, and y'all are his sons. Imagine trying to convert somebody who y'all are not related to. You know what I'm saying? What's his name? Sino. You know what I mean? That's hard, and that was your father. You think that
sometimes it's harder when it's your father.
I agree. I think it can be just as hard, if not harder, to, especially for maybe not like siblings, but especially parents.
Yes.
Like we've talked about that before. Like as the child, like I've accepted. I used to be so like, no, we have to talk about this. And now I'm like, I can't tell my parents anything. I can't tell them anything. I'm their child. They look at me, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm sure you've experienced that with your dad up to right now. Like there's this wall, and you can have conversations, but if they feel that sort of like my child is trying to educate me to something, they're all mad. They're already like, no, you don't know anything.
And that was actually a very interesting thing about my dad, is that he would have those conversations with me. Like he would listen if I tried to tell him something, to school him on something. He would listen.
He would listen.
You know what I mean?
And our mom too.
Our mom.
He would. But what I'm saying is that even though he would, he's still stubborn. He's still, you know what I mean? But because he's stuck to that thing.
But I think in a way he wasn't. It wasn't that he was stuck. It was that he never. That's all he knew.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think like. And the things that he was attached to, like the fact that he knew Bill Clinton personally, played at his inauguration, like he was just so bought into the idea of the democratic system.
And I think that's what's happening as a whole. People attach themselves. Like, I remember when I saw him play that saxophone. I love him. You know what I mean?
And I think it was more that than anything. But he would have been. Because
by now you guys would have gotten, you know what I mean?
I think so.
By now,
I think
you know what I mean? But I'm saying the initial, you know.
Yeah, it's always hard.
The piece, the war.
But I think the main thing that would have been hard would be the fact that we're his kids. You know?
Right.
Like someone like C, he already respects us.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he respects our opinion on things.
Right.
So it wouldn't be that difficult to have those conversations with him. We've had them, and you know, we've gained ground there. But
right.
Yeah.
And it is tough. Don't get me wrong. It is tough.
Yeah.
You know, but I think that's where you sharpen your tools, is by the people who, because you don't want to hurt your parents,
right?
But you sharpen your tools with the people that are closest to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because having a conversation with somebody I don't know, I don't have that much. I'm passionate, but I don't care. But right. My dad or my sisters or somebody, you know what I mean, that's close to you, you sharpen your tools with them.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I agree.
All right.
It's getting kind of late.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right.
A late one.
We'll end it now. I can tell when you guys are getting tired. Jake and Mo just get super quiet. Cool. So I think we got to everything pretty much.
Yeah.
Everything we wanted to talk about. We usually just miss out on all the stuff.
Yeah, we do.
Last week we had so much stuff in there that we didn't talk about. Oh, that did you see that what's it called? The drag syndrome thing?
What?
Drag syndrome?
What's that?
It's some performance thing that they've been doing where this organization uses Down syndrome, people with Down syndrome, and dresses them up in drag.
Ridiculous.
Oh my God.
That was from last week. I posted up, but we never got to it because we were stuck on that dude fighting the Eagles player. The Sixers player. Oh, this article I wanted to talk about. Broke men are hurting American women's marriage prospects. It was like this weird twist. Oh yeah, that's it right there.
Oh man.
Look at this. And the fact that they're look at how they're dressing them up.
New York Times.
I know. But the crazy thing is, like, why do they have to be dressed so creepy? It's weird. And then the other article was right above that was the this article about how like men with the gig economy with Uber jobs and like men that aren't making tons of money are hurting women's marriage prospects. It was like this weird feminist article about how like because the feminist stance is that like men and women are equal. Women can be the breadwinner too, but it's like men that are broke are hurting women's marriage prospects.
Yeah, I think I read that.
It's stupid. I did not.
It is such nonsense. So it's like this whole opinion piece of this woman talking about how like
you guys are taking all the jobs. You guys are not making enough money.
Right. Exactly. Now we can't get married because you're not rich. But wait a minute, I thought you don't need a man to make more money than you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which one is it? But anyway, so all right, that's it. Let's call it a night.
All right.
See you guys next week.
Yeah.
Don't forget to hit the socials, Chatan.com, get some merch, patreon.com/YoungLionTV. And we'll see you guys next week. Peace.